Alrighty, we are back in the Sunless Sea. Now, last time we were here, we had started off that new captain. We got ourselves a upgraded ship. I think we'd upgraded to the... I want to call it Corsair class. I do believe it started with a C. We didn't end up going straight to the merchant cruiser, which has a whole lot of space. But we did end up going up a little bit just so we wouldn't have to worry about our ship's hull. Went up to the Corvette, there we go, which has a little bit more hull. About double. Yeah. But 1.5 or 2.5 times the amount of hull that we had on our previous ship, just so we don't have to worry about that. It also has a forward weapon slot, which we have never actually had before. We've never actually used that. Hold capacity is still the same. Quarters are a little bit increased, and it does give us a slight bonus to iron, along with a little bit of a weight increase. So we had to throw a slightly better engine on our ship as well, which isn't too bad. Now, we have a few quests to go through. We have determined, unfortunately, that there are not as many officers that are in your playthroughs as I thought there would. I do believe we collected just about every one in our previous playthrough that we can get, barring the ones from the specific backstories. And we do have that. We have our Longshanks gunner from being an urchin. She wished to go to Khan Shadow, but that is somewhere in the Far East, so that's going to take quite a bit of time before we can get there. We also have a passenger, the Unsettled Salvager, who wishes to go to Polythreme. And I believe she wanted to meet the Lady in Black, the being that occupies the abysses of the world. That's part of the Submariner DLC, I do believe. The Cheery Man wants us to go to Fathom King's Hold in order to find a cure for his ill. He is, of course, the man who is better off known as the handler for Bouncing Bruiser, something like that. The underworld contact that we have there. Merchant Venturer wants us to go get either 7 romantic literatures, approved or unapproved, or 21 Spider Silk, both of which are pretty far out. And the incomparable Aurelian, who we picked up in, I believe, Port Carnelian, wants us to go to the Undercrow. But we don't know where a lot of those locations are yet. So we're going to have to go do more adventuring here. I do believe, yeah, we got some sacks of Dark Drop coffee beans, so we can sell that off for a little bit of a profit here. I think we got them at 38, we're selling them at 44, so make a little cash back from our trip down to Port Carnelian. Unfortunately, we move very slowly compared to what we used to. We used to travel at quite the speed thanks to the Fulgent Impeller, that lovely, lovely engine, who I am eager to get again, even if it is a rather distant quest. Do we have... check out London here. No new recruits, okay. So we will need to go find more recruits. We do still need to talk to a bunch of officers here, but I might save that for when we have a little bit more food. We have a ton of cash on hand. 13,000 echoes is nothing to scoff at, but I do want to play as though we don't necessarily have that, because we can definitely still die, even with that there. And being careful here will be safe. Don't need the Submariner tutorial. I understand no need for this help. You are the master of your destiny, you need no advice. Dang straight I do. And we could go and do the Clathermont's tattoo here. But I am interested to see what the Gambit is. I want to see if that is anything listed to the spy network. Maybe it does. Maybe it just increases pages, but it'll also increase pages, which is, you know, a pretty decent stat to increase. It's always good to have more pages, since you can get more secrets that way. And we will end up needing a lot of secrets, because our end goal of this captain is to get into our study here and eventually create the Zong of the Zee, and that requires a whole lot of port reports from various locations in the Unterzee. A lot of secrets, 40 secrets, tons and tons of Tales of Terror, Z stories, memories of distant shores, and all of the study items that we can craft up here. So we'll need to go and do all of those eventually. Right now, we're not going to do that. We don't want to clutter up our hold with 5 slots that we can't really get rid of. Not efficiently, not reasonably anyway. And these cost a lot of secrets to craft. I believe they cost 7 secrets, right? Yeah, 7 secrets each to craft. So that'll be a hot second before we do that. Especially since we only have those small 40 cargo spaces to start with. But I think for this, we have to go to Con Shadow, Polythreum, Fathom King's Hold, the Undercrow, and the Chelinet. None of those are really close locations, so I think I'm going to expand out on the nearby map. I think we're going to go all the way north to Wither and Codex. Those should still be in the same locations, and we'll see what else has popped up around here. I do believe in one of our previous captain's playthroughs, Mount Palmerston was actually up here somewhere. So hopefully that'll be a similar location. It's been here and here, I think, for the last 2 times that we've actually found it. So I'm going to try going for that. We'll stop by Venderbite, of course. And we'll just carry on north, adventure around there for a little bit. We have 10 fuel and 10 supply. I do think that getting more fuel would probably be a good thing. Yeah, we'll get more fuel here, even if it's not necessarily the most cost-effective place to get it. So I think buying up to, say, 20 fuel? Oops, 21 apparently. Will do us fine. And the 10 supply should keep our slightly over minimum crew well fed. We'll go and set off here in search of mystery. Now, unfortunately, the Zong of the Z, looking at those requirements, that is our ultimate goal. That is our current captain's retirement. And I do believe that that would be a fitting retirement for the game, because after this, after our next successful captain's end, I do feel like going for any longer. Apparently there's not that much new in the Sunless Sea beyond the first captain. Probably isn't a winning solution. We'll skip over Hunter's Keep right now. We could stop by for the port report, I suppose, but I don't want to encroach upon that island too many times, just in case it does do the slight explosion that we have experienced before. I want to make sure that we are properly prepared for that. God, our something awaits us back. That is something, actually, we don't need to worry about anymore. Our previous captain traveled so fast between places that sometimes he wouldn't even have something awaits us before we got to our next destination. So that is one positive that comes from going slow. Of course, the obvious downside for going slow is that we go slow, meaning more fuel wasted, more food wasted, and more terror gained. Not so great. But we're back in the Tomb Colonies. Right, since we have a submarine now, we picked that up in Port Carnelian for absolutely free. We can go and take this weak call for help. An emaciated man is slumped against a wall at the of the docks. Sitting on a huge crate, he waves weakly at you. What does he have to say for us? Stranded in the Tomb Colonies. Oh, thank God, the dogged apprentice gasps. I don't know how long I've been here. It's been days, weeks since I ran out of money. I've got to get back to Rosegate beneath the waves. His crate rumbles beneath him. Please help me. And if you had anything I could eat, you'll help him get to Rosegate, but that's it. Or we can feed him a little bit. I think we could probably afford to feed him, I think. That'll be fine. He's clearly weak with hunger. You can spare a little sustenance. Thank you, thank you. The dogged apprentice springs up to embrace you, but he collapses onto the dock. After seeing him to a bunk, you check, and double-check, that your crew has securely stored away his rumbling crate. And we now have ourselves another mission to take the dogged apprentice back to Rosegate. We know exactly where that goes. To meet, rather, the tobacconist. And we did manage to make it over to the Iron and Misery Company funging station, which means we now know about a certain little restaurant here. Fine cuisine in Venderbite. Now that would be something. But if we go check it down here, a corkscrewed street at the twisty tip of an odd little side street, welcoming yellow lights below from the gilt-lettered windows of a restaurant. The sign reads, Vengeance of Jonah. A beefy tomb colonist bustles up, a gray mustache pokes impertinently out from under his bandages. Come in, come in. And the bandaged poissonniere at Venderbite seeks passage with a Z captain sympathetic to intrepid cuisine. We've lost a little bit of terror, and we have found the Vengeance of Jonah. So, for 300 Echo, a bit costly, but very doable with our current Echo stores, we can recruit the bandaged poissonniere, and of course that is what we are going to do. The bandaged poissonniere has long wished to travel, but you'll need to outfit the galley to his exacting standards. We'll go buy all the pots and pans he requires here, and recruit him as our cook. Avid enthusiasm. Ah, my captain, the things we will catch, that we will consume, that we will experience. We will discover the seventh sensation, you and I. The taste that one tastes with the heart. You there, sailor, careful with that braising alembic. It's worth more than your wretched soul. And we now have ourselves a cook. Lovely. He's going to give us a little bit of hearts, a little bit of pages. And I think all of our other slots are pretty good. I do believe we should stick our Presbyterian Adventurers on. I think her Iron and Veils probably a little bit more worthwhile than just the flat, straight iron increase. Everything else, just a couple mascots that I could trade in and out. Just kind of get to go exist. And while I doubt we have anything for the first curator, yeah, I didn't think so. Go into part. I'll have to go and figure out what's going on. We'll go grab port reports. That is a thing that I have to get used to doing again. Port reports, since we didn't have them when the Admiral went and disappeared on us. We'll go and gather some gossip. Who's plotting what out in the tomb colonies? Along the coast of the Unterzee, it's remarkably hard to die. The decrepit and nearly dead who leave London become tomb colonists and settle here in bandaged peace. But they don't give up their ties to home or their politics. You gather a haul of complex clues, enough to keep your contacts in London interested, and we now have a port report. Lovely. And before we leave, I think we shall explore Venderbite a wee bit. Here they favor candlelight over gaslight. The shadows are swagged like cobwebs. Tomb colonists stand still enough to be mistaken for sculpture until they laugh or cough. One building in 3 seems abandoned. Ah, and there is another Zeman. I do believe we need 7 or 8 to crew the ship to full speed, but I will think that I will take him with us. Even though he will eat food and this will happen. He's keeping a little shrine to salt. Of course we will permit it. We have salt's attention. As he tousles our hair in the breeze. I think that is all we will do for Venderbite. Let's head, or continue to head, north to see what lays out in the dark. Sighted a bat swarm? Okay. Go take them on, I'm sure. Our very powerful deck weapon will provide a lovely amount of slightly feathery supply. Discovered Pickett's Bluff over here. And we should be able to comb along the coast here until we find Wither. Still have no idea what this is. I would really love to know the lore behind that. There's a lifeberg out in the water. That's a little tough for us to take on. Maybe we should get a deck weapon. Go for a combat-oriented approach this one. Might not be a bad idea. We'll go flip off the lights, though, to save on fuel prices. And we've discovered Andergard Harbor and Wither. Just as expected here. Along with another lifeberg out in the distance. So let's go dock up. Wither, a chilly city beside a waste of salt. The House of the Question doesn't currently have anything of great interest to us. We can ask about the drowned man here. Bribe them to ask about him. I don't actually remember what that's all about. Maybe that has something to do with the Lady in Black. But the House of the Question, northwest of Withertown, the House of the Question stands alone. Here, the initiates of the house make offerings to the three gods of the deep Z, and perhaps a fourth who is not a god. It's the one place in Wither where you can sometimes get a straight answer for a price. I think I'm going to ask about the Drowned Man again. It'll cost me 100 echoes, but we've got the echoes to spare, and I'm forgetting exactly who or what the Drowned Man is. The initiates of the house are reluctant to speak of him, but you may be able to bribe them enough to gain a few tenuous snippets. The Law and the Loss. The Drowned Man's brothers, aye, and sisters, gave him to the knives and the lacra. Here we have no lacra, only snow. Snow comes from the north. Lacra comes from pain. We have it a little easier. Still have no idea what that was. Maybe that's referring to Mr. Sachs? I've got no clue. I've got no clue as to what that's supposed to be insinuating. But we definitely won't defy the gods, rather. But we'll just go into Wither. Gather a port report here. The citizens of Wither enjoy questions, so much so that they always answer a question with another question. This can make intelligence gathering frustrating. Are you asking for any particular reason? At what time of day? Is that your hat? Might it be 6? It could be 6. Eventually you cobble together enough implication and supposition to compose a report. We've got the port report here. And we will go explore the town as well. Wither is a quiet, chilly town of gray stone and closed courtyards. People are neither exactly unfriendly nor exactly hospitable. They have the irritating habit of answering a question with a question here and there. There are odd sights tucked away. What odd sight shall we walk upon this time? A walk by the shore. The black Z whispers on the beach. Another soft sound is audible above the waves. A castaway. Ah, I know what this is all about, and I'm up for it, I think. A woman in an iridescent green gown waves vaguely from a rock near the shore. Sorrowful sighs waft across the water towards you. An idiot castaway? A mermaid? Of course not. Mermaids are a preposterous myth. Let's approach. The poor woman won't answer your hails, but she's obviously in need of assistance. No, she is not. She's a serpent's lure. A fanged mouth rears from the water, big enough to bite a boat in half or swallow a pig. The woman contorts and slides into the water. She's the tip of the monster's tail. This will be untidy. Amazingly, I thought our iron was a little bit better. We've only got a chancy challenge to go and obliterate it. So that is our best option. I thought we would be doing a little bit better here. But I'm going to give it a good smack in here. It's a formidable beast, but you're formidable too. Hopefully we get lucky. We did. A ferocious battle with cutlass and pistol. Your zailors stride into battle. The serpent obviously expected nothing of the kind. It essays a number of savage strikes against you, but then a lucky shot takes it in the eye. You harvest its bones and scrape its hatching young from along the rocks by the shore. We have a harlot fry now and some Stygian ivory as well. And the harlot fry is a very rare thing to come across, so we'll go keep that around, I do believe. Could sell the Stygian ivory for Tales of Terror, and in fact, I think we will, because we do need to stock up on Tales of Terror. We have to get 77 of those, after all, to go and craft that, along with Z stories and that other thing that I can't quite recall. But we'll go sell that here. That won't be too bad. And in fact, that is a repeatable trade, so I guess we know how we're going to get our Tales of Terror. We can just get them from the Chelonate, the Stygian ivory, Chelonate or the Connate, I believe, and go trade that up here. So we'll keep that in mind. And we don't really need fuel and supplies. I think we'll do fine on supplies for. What I'm planning on doing is heading out east, seeing what there is north of Geidersmoor, and there probably should be something out here. Maybe even further, beyond into the next quadrant. But we know that there is at least one more island out in this way. That island is, of course, Codex. There it is. No name for the port, apparently. We will dock there nonetheless. See if the Isle of Answers, that is Codex, has anything for us. Codex, a desperate cave full of mute exiles and an inexplicable colony of shivering, bad-tempered monkeys. Agree to a damp request. Seeing your ship, a drowny approaches with purpose. After a soggy exchange, it seems he seeks passage to the Unterzee spire of Scrimshander. Sure, we'll go take you aboard. A deal is struck. Few return from Scrimshander, not because of the danger, but because of the cost of leaving. Still, your guest promises compensation to cover the trip and your safe departure afterwards. How generous. A monastic drowny. Requests to go to Scrimshander, silently boarding our ship. So we have another location to head to that we have not yet discovered. But we will go compile a port report here. No one will speak. This is a challenge. Silently forthright, the exiles see many come, fewer leave. Some are even willing to communicate, but their gestures are unfamiliar, the meanings unclear. Even when you can understand, these are answers without questions as useless, rather, as a lock without a key. Or a key without a lock, rather. But we at least have the port report here. Shop is still just the basic shop. I think we will head further east here. Let's see what's out here. And we should be sending Z-Bats out, shouldn't we? Just in case there are underwater locations to note. And is this? It is. Wow, Frostfound. That is a really close Frostfound location right there. Yes, I've accidentally marked it twice. Look at that. That was usually pretty far east in our last playthrough. Guess not quite so much this time. I also guess that our trading triangle from the last time we were playing is no longer an option if Frostfound. Well, Frostfound, I guess, wasn't really part of that, so if Dahoot's still over there, we might still have a decent trading triangle. Stoddard's Haven is the lovely port here, and of course Frostfound is a mystery until we need it not to be. Oh, and we're getting Restless Nights already. We are going to definitely ignore them. Well, you know what? We're going to be reducing our terror here in a second anyway. Let's go take a look. In the watches of the night, you pad softly past the hatch to the crew quarters. A man cries out softly in his sleep, desperately. Another inquire about their dreams the next morning. What did they see? Eyes and a face, the whole neath lit up like a snuffer mask. There's something in the roof, Captain. It is the roof. It's watching us. Eyes and a face. Eyes and a face. Yes, you say softly. You lay your hand on the sailor's burning forehead. There are storms in the roof. Hush. We won't join them yet. Gained 10 terror. Wow. Jeez. I did not think it would be that much. And that was with a success, too. Along with 20 fragments, though, which gave us a new secret. Ah, and we have made it to Frostfound and found an officer. And a very good officer at that. The tireless mechanic. Frostfound is a place of towers and ramps and galleries and stairs of ice, raised and spun like an architect's honey dream. No spider ever wove so complex a web. The towers are utterly pristine, untouched by human life, but a pitiable encampment squats by the docks. And from that encampment we shall engage an officer, the tireless mechanic. The tireless mechanic has had enough of Frostfound. He smiles at you over his spectacles, teeth chattering. Brr, so glad to see a ship, at last. Ready to offer my services. I'm an engineer, finest you'll ever hire. Treat engines like my own children. Not that I have children. Too busy. Unusually busy. I will absolutely pick him up. We will honestly probably start off with his quest as soon as possible. Welcome aboard. Spot of rust, spot of rust. Soon see to that. You there, help me with this spot of rust. We have lost 20 echoes for the trouble, but we are going to throw him straight to the chief engineer slot. He gives us a bit of fuel efficiency, along with Vales, which is always nice. And those are very important stats, but his quest actually has a fantastic payoff, being the Fulgent Impeller. So he will be able to get us out there. And we don't have a something awaits us. Unfortunately, we won't be able to talk to the squatters. Let's go create a port report nonetheless. What are the squatters up to? Bickering amiably, not all are Iremi or Withern. There's the odd researcher, the occasional deranged ice sculptor. Now and then a very cold, very sad rubbery man, but for the most part, an atmosphere of friendly rivalry reigns. Not too bad. Bit close of a location. I kind of would have preferred it further out, since this is one of the few locations where you can undeniably reduce terror by a significant amount. Would have liked it to be further east, but this is an alright spot. Let's see, how are we doing on supplies and food? Supplies and fuel. We're doing okay. I think we can make it out the edges of the quadrant here. See what other areas lie. In this distant location. Teneb and Bright, I do believe, are just towers in the location of Frostfound. We will actually have to return here for the Tireless Mechanics quest. That is for a later time. Keep sending out Z-Bats as we travel. We found Chongyi Rift. Not too bad. Some blackened islands here. Are they anything distinct, or are they simply something underwater some distance to the east, you say? What be you? The Ragged Crow. That's not a bad option here. You know, in fact, we will submerge here. Okay, maybe a little further out. A lot further out. Good God, how far out do we have to go here? This is actually the first time we've submerged with a new ship. Look at that. Obviously a different animation, but it looks lovely. But we have made it to the Undercrow, which is our first quest from... who was that? The Incomparable Aurelian, I believe we picked up in Port Carnelian. But we have made it to the underwater entrance to Crow, the Undercrow, a deep, well-lit cavern thick with a fungal smoke and decayed moths. Far above, the lighthouse fire burns. The scent of it is curiously medicinal. It clouds your head and burns your lung. Farther into the fog, you can make out labored breathing. Approach, a voice from the fog. Here at last, the fog voice croaks. Come closer. The Incomparable Aurelian rolls his eyes but advances nonetheless. An almost dead man, your passenger gazes impassively at a bulbous figure, whispering quietly. As the fog parts, you can make out milky eyes and a toothless grimace. No tomb colonist ever looked as ancient or unwell as the almost dead man before you. Gray, bloated, and nearly embalmed by the fungal smoke, it's difficult to tell where his skin ends and the stone bed beneath him begins. His breath is shallow, but his bare chest heaves to a different rhythm. A shape crawls beneath his ribs, but disappears as the man lets out a gassy sigh. Allow me to introduce you, Captain, the Incomparable Aurelian says, slipping you a modest payment. This is Lorenzo, my erstwhile mentor and a host to the Most Moth. 50 Echo for the delivery. We have met the almost dead man. We'll go assemble a port here. It's a little more than a cave and a lighthouse fire, but the Admiralty appreciate thoroughness. A thorough survey of moths and fire. A ramshackle array of pulleys allows the Undercrow's reclusive resident to feed the fire above. The herby smoke of the fungal fire has preservative qualities. The dust, but dusts everything in a fine gray deposit. Meanwhile, the fire distracts the more aggressive moths and warns ships far above. All is well, or as well as can be expected. And let's go entertain a dying man's last requests here. You have a submarine. The almost dead man wheezes. Entertain a dying man's last requests. Sure, let's do it. Delivering farewells. Mortality has a way of finding us in the end. The almost dead man wheezes to himself, dislodging a cloud of cave moths. The Incomparable Aurelian spares them only a disappointed glance. I must set my affairs in order. I owe that much to my successor. He waves a withered hand feebly. It's not clear whether the gesture suggests the companion at his bedside or the one nestled within his ribs. So, Captain, would you help an old man say his farewells? Sure. Let's see what he wants us to do. Deliver a letter of farewell to his sprightly visionary at Hideaway. Also a very distant location. But we'll go and pick it up, or when we eventually get there. He deserved more than I had to give the almost dead man croaks. Farewell to a sprightly visionary. How did this he come to know? I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be, how did he come to know one of the exiles of Hideaway? No answer is forthcoming, but the old man displays a broken grin. The old history of foolhardy youths, he confides, who somehow became old men. We have quest then. From the nearly dead man. To go to Hideaway. To talk to his lover over there. And let's talk to the incomparable Aurelian before we go. You catch him between tending to his ailing friends and preserving an unwisely bold cave moth. A true collector appreciates patience. When my master retired here, we both thought it would be his last destination. The Aurelian's eyes take a sheen of a patient man approaching a long-delayed payoff. No one has been present at a most moth's hatching before. Well, no one who was in a condition to remember it afterwards. He spares a hesitant glance over his shoulder at the almost dead man. Of course, being by my master's side during his final days is a necessary part of the process. Very much so. But that will be our data here. We could read the letter. We didn't read any of the letters last time. And I think we're taking fewer things on faith in this playthrough. I want to believe that we are more, or less, rather, concerned by duty and honor than our predecessor, than our father. So maybe we will read it, but not with our current mirrors. Our current mirrors are very much not up to snuff. 45% chance is probably not so great. So we'll save that for later. But it'll be a while till we'll get to Hideaway anyway, so we'll get out from the underwater areas of the undergrow, resurface here, and see if there is more to us, more for us to discover. Start heading south now. Fuel and supplies are starting to dwindle. I think fuel will go before our supplies. But we can always switch off our lamp if we do need to. Let's keep sending out those bats. Another rift, another abyss. The salt lions. Ah, excellent. Ah, there it is. So there is... what abyss? Wilbert's abyss, apparently. And the salt lions, which is a pretty good area to stumble upon. Along with Zeal Port. Let's go turn off our light. And dock here, shall we? Because we can make a little bit of cash before this place goes belly up. And we will actually be able to take an option which we have never taken before with our upgraded stats from our previous captain. The salt lions. There is a vast sorrow in their empty eyes. Two basalt beasts, cathedral-sized, they frown eternally at each other across the black waves. The north one carries an encampment. Creeping human figures eat away at its features like rot, picking. There's a supply dock below. Visit the Unmakers. Muscular pick-wielders rest on camp stools, watching you approach, passing hip flasks around. An unctuous overseer beckons you to sit. Maybe, but first, to compile a port report here. Time, basalt, and disillusion. Notes for the Admiralty. Record the activities of the Unmakers, such as they are. Rite of stone and silence. And, how much hold space do we have? Enough. Enough to go and get this set up. Let's carry some Sphinx Stone to London. The Unmakers are here to reduce the salt lions to rubble, one block at a time. Help them in their work by carrying the rubble back to London. You will need a deposit and 20 units of spare cargo space. We have both for you. If the stones weep, an Unmaker advises you, ignore them. Unless they flood your hold, of course. Then you should probably drop them overboard. Don't tell anyone that I said that, though. We've lost 200 Echo for our deposit, but we've gained 20 Sphinx Stone and hopefully a delivery to Fallen London to make some profit off of them. And let's go visit the Unmakers here. Fungal Tisane and tea cakes. We get funding from the bazaar, it's true, but Station 4? I wouldn't call it Station 4. It's a little grandiose. The stones are stuffed with secrets, but most of them are used as garden statuary or occult ballast. Most of them. Some go down to the places under the bazaar. More tea cakes. Lost a little bit of terror and gained a single fragment. Not a great trade, but it is something. And obviously there are no shops in the Salt Lions. This is a fair distance out, a little too distant to make constant profit, but if we do end up finding ourselves out here, we will be able to pick that up with the 20 cargo spaces that hopefully we should not have filled by the time we're out here, and we can bring it back to Fallen London. Let's go set out for that aforementioned destination. Go see if Fallen London has any more surprises to us on the way, though. Seems like there is something under our log over there. Gigantic underwater beast? I bet it's just the crab that typically patrols over here. Yes, the western angler crab, who we will immediately avoid. Let's dodge him, shall we? And he will forget all about us exactly as we wish. Something underwater to the east, you say? Can you be more specific? No island, so something up by the Salt Lions? Okay. I'm heading kind of the opposite of the way I'd wish to go. Nothing to mark from that. I thought for sure that they would list some cities or something. I think I'm going to abandon whatever it is that is to the east. Going to head back to Fallen London before our field situation gets any more dire. And we have lost that... Oh, maybe not quite lost that pirate frigate. Ah, but it does look like we have found the Sea of Lilies over here. Do we press on? Just far enough to observe the abyss here, I think. After that, we can figure out something else. Peterson's Rift. One of our previous officer affiliations from the soldier timeline. The chef there wished to visit the Sea of Lilies. But other than that, not quite anything of great interest. You know, we could return to Fallen London. We could try to make it all the way down to Port Carnelian, perhaps, with 6 fuel? No, that would be a risky endeavor. Very, very risky. I think not. We can go dock here. Put this lovely lightship far from home. Its clear, bright beams warm the way. Oh no, 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 we've heard about you. You're Captain Mushroom. You, Captain Mushroom, can turn right around and get back on your ship. Oh, I guess the story of when we dropped off a Blemigan spread. So, apparently they don't like us very much now. No longer welcome. The light ship crew line the rail as you leave, jeering and flinging fungus which bounces harmlessly off your ship's hull. Charmless fellows. My bad. I didn't realize it would be that much of a problem. Apparently we no longer have benefits to gain from light ships because we did end up throwing a Blemigan aboard. One of them. Which I didn't think was that big of a problem. But evidently they were much less enthused about it than I was. We'll go take down this Jilly Fleur. How's our terror doing? 38. Very manageable. And we've let one disperse before. Let's scoop it up here. See if we can eat it or get something off of it. Ah, some supplies from it. A barrel of former jellyfish. It will wait in the hold like a cup of dissolved moon. One day you will eat it, or perhaps it will eat you. Not too bad. Love that, like the lightship thing. Your Captain Mushroom. I didn't think it would be that bad, but I guess there probably aren't that many individuals who board those lightships, so they definitely knew it was me when they found that Blemigan. I am kind of disappointed. It means that if we are in dire straits and we find a lighthouse, we won't be able to get a terror reduction, nor will we be able to buy fuel at an extended price, which can be a thing that may sink us here. Oh, dear. Oh, no, that's just a... okay, I thought that was a Corsair. That's actually just a Steam Pirate Pinnace. We can go take him on. Unfortunately, not before suffering a little bit of damage. Let's loot and scuttle her. She's a vile old vessel, and these Z's aren't safe. Take what you can and move on. We have grabbed... Frigate of Prisoners, honey. Not too bad. We can go grab more Blummigans for that price. Ah, and the Shepherd Isles here. We can go stop off and get a port report from them. We may want to start traveling without our lights on, though. Depending on how things go, we are running a little low on fuel, and we are still a ways out when it comes to our current engine travel speed. From Fallen London. We have determined that no new officers are going to show up, so let's go pick up the sigil-ridden navigator. Let me guide your ship. I know all about the Z, how it was, how it will be. Please, the headaches only stop when I'm working. We'll go pick you up for 50 Echo. Relief, thank you. The nonsense here was a distraction for a while, but only the Z can help me now. Ah, my god, the air. It's clearer already. Let me chart a course for you. Ah, my head. And we will see what he actually has to offer. Mirrors and Veils, our current first officer, does Mirrors and Pages. I think Pages is probably a better stat to have. For now, our Veils is high enough. If we need to switch them out for any challenges, we can, but I think we're probably good right now. We'll go grab a port report. Full of nonsense, of course. And, what shall we do for the rest of it? I think we've heard the tale of standing stones, right? Somebody was turned to stone whilst chasing somebody else, something like that. Let's hear the tale of the three graves, who sleeps beneath the turf over on that island to the northwest. Hunters at rest. The Chelonate, right? They're hunters. They killed a turtle the size of London and built their city in its shell. A ship from the Chelonate came by hunting the midnight whale. 3 of them had died cowards, so their bodies couldn't go to the Z. They paid us for the land in whale ivory. I still got a piece, but I keeps it safe. Got a Z story, got a memory of distant shores. Not too bad. And of course we know that the Chelonians? What have we been calling them? Chelonates? I think a proper name for them has shown up at one time or another, but I can't quite recall as to what it was. So we know that's a lie, though. Ultimately, bit of propaganda from them. I think with 3 fuel we should be able to get back. We can bird supplies if things go poorly. I will travel close to shore with our lights off, though, just to save on the little bit of fuel that we can get. Okay, and we'll travel in Westergren's fire here for as far as we can. Kind of in an off axis, and then through the light of this buoy. And another lightship. I wonder if I could stop by these guys. Ask them to kindly not call me Captain Mushroom and spread the word about me. Wasn't that bad, surely. The Blummigans aren't a terrible folk. Ah, and more Restless Nights. Yeah, sure, let's go grab some more fragments. And quite a bit of terror. Yeah, and all lightships now have the same dealing with us, which is annoying. I didn't expect that to happen, but okay. 1 fuel barrel left, but we are right by port. So we should be able to make it back safely here. Let's go back to Fallen London, dock with our delivery of Stinkstone, and make some profit off of it, shall we? So I do believe, let's see, in London? Here it is. Special constables, black uniforms, distinctive caps, the badge of the Ministry of Public Decency. Wait, the cart. And we shall deliver the Sphinx Stone to them. Sign, sign, sign. Here's a receipt, your discretion contract. Here's a penalty contract. Your vision is blurred by the end of it. The cart rumbles off into the coiling fog. Here is your reward. 500 echo, profit of 300, minus fuel and supply costs, obviously, and a little bit of terror removed. Not too bad. Fortunately, we showed up without something awaits us, so we still don't have a new day to spend. We can go deliver some port reports. Let's see. Where is that diplomat? Do I have access to him yet? There he is. Or the Dark Spectacled Admiral. The one who takes those. Submit our port reports. Vendor bite is vendor bite. But it give us fuel. Wither. I refuse to ask any questions. I don't want to give them the satisfaction. Give us 20 echo and a bit of fuel. Shepherd Isles, we will absolutely not be submitting as fact. We'll submit it as unsubstantiated hearsay. We do hear some unlikely tales of that place. Friendly scoffing. I agree it does seem implausible. So many of the stories from that place do. Still, there is a little gold of truth in the mud of rumor from time to time. Your payment, Captain. 10 echo and a bit of fuel. If we tried to submit it as fact, maybe if we do succeed, we get something from it, but if we fail, which I believe is what we've mostly done, then we don't get anything at all, I do believe. And then Frostfound. Is it as beautiful as they say? I doubt it. Poets are notorious liars. But liars make bad poets. A paradox, isn't it? Never mind. Your report. 30 echo, a bit of fuel, and a Admiralty's favor for the new location. Next, Codex. Exiled for giving answers. That's Wither for you. Anything new? Not so much. Pretty much just the same as always. The Salt Lines, the Bazaar has always taken an interest in that place. I certainly hope so. 20 echoes and Admiralty's favor from that, along with a bit of fuel. And the Undercrow. Nothing more than moths, I trust. Yeah, 35 echoes, not too bad. Bit of fuel. Admiralty's favor, and that is that. Do we have anything more from him? I think not. Yeah, I think we have nothing there. Pass the Veils check for Shepherd's Isle, then you get 50 echoes instead of 10 echoes. Ah, okay. Interesting. We'll have to get really good at lying, because they are definitely some over-reported stories right there. I would like to visit Clathermont's tattoo parlor. Ah, but we need to move in the Great Game to go and get that turned into anything nice. Yeah, I'm going to sit on it. I'm going to keep trying to wait for that tattoo. The Alarming Scholar. I have nothing for her or him, save perhaps this extraordinary implication. No, I'll be holding on to that. That's the only one I have. Let's go sleep a little. Let's go rest in our lodgings here. Since it is a little high up on the terror scale at present. Resting here will reduce your terror, heal 2 wounds, and give you 2 restful nights. There we go. Sleep early, rise late, take the air in Tyrant's Gardens, take coffee at Caligula's Coffee House, take advantage of the Z Captain's reputation. You could get used to this. Lost about 15 terror, have 2 restful nights, and we've lost Yearning Burning, reduced to nothing. And in Fallen London, I don't really think we have anything of interest to do. Don't have long boxes or watchful curios. We could, in the Labyrinth of Tigers here, sell our Harlot Fry for 500 echoes, but I kind of want to trade that for hunting trophies. I do believe that hunting trophies are a way that we will get we check into our lodgings. Hunting trophies are a way to get Tales of Terror, Z-Stories, and Memories of Distant Shores. I remember there was some trade on an island. I think it was Godfall? Maybe Wisdom or the Chelinet. But I think that was how we could get that. We know that we have a very good way to get all these Tales of Terror done. Z-Stories I think will be hardest. And Memories of Distant Shores may be a little bit more difficult. But we will see where we can farm these all up. And secrets obviously will be a little bit rough since we'll have to have the 40 here plus 35 more, effectively 75 secrets before we can even think about getting the Song of the Z. A little bit rough. But I think that's all the locations here that we need to visit, or that we care to visit. Don't have anything for her. I do believe we still have a agent to deposit. Before we do that, we will need to go and clear out some things here. Harlot Fry is fine. Our fuel is satisfactory. I think we'll go south here, deposit that agent in Port Carnelian if we haven't already. I don't think we'll actually go and fight for the Admiralty this time. I would like to side for a different side. Maybe the Anarchists, maybe the Khanate. But I really don't know how to get to the Khanate. How to access their sort of dealings. I'll have to figure that one out. And the Harlot Fry, obviously, we will be saving until... Where is that? The Gant Pole? Chalanet? Something like that. One of those two locations has a fantastic trade for the Harlot Fry, giving a whole bunch of hunting trophies, which will be very useful for us. So we'll just hold on to that for a while. We'll go pick up a few supplies here. Say... that many? And plan our next route here. So we still don't know the location of most of the areas that we need to head to. Starting to get further afield here on the edges of the map. We'll probably stop off at the Uttershroom, pick up some more Blemigans, and do all of that stuff. That is with Firkins of Prisoners Honey, so we can go bring that down. We'll stop by the Iron Republic, I think, for... Oh, and the Cumane Canal, just to see if we can get a move in the Great Game. I think that's what we need for our tattoo. We'll stop by those two locations, then the Uttershroom, and make our way down to Port Carnelian. And then I think we'll start exploring this area here. Hopefully, we should have enough to do that. So, I think our food and fuel will be adequate. 8 should get us all the way down, I'm thinking. And you know what? We should start talking to the tireless mechanic here. Invite him to dine with you. His tastes are Spartan. He eats little, drinks only water, barely sleeps at all, so you need only lay a simple table. Hello, hello. Busy now, but always got time for you. I hope so, my friend, because you have a fantastic route. An appeal. Thanks for the meal and the company. No, no wine. It makes me sleepy. Oh yes, I can sleep too easily. That's the problem. He hesitates. There's a draught I take nightly to substitute for sleep. It works well enough and it keeps me sane and upright, but I wish I could enjoy just one night's sleep. You can help me. We need a Clayman from Poly 3. We'll need a mirror catch box, and we'll need to go to Hunter's Keep. I'll explain when we get there. No, I'm serious. I would owe you a great deal. So we'll need to start his quest. A Clayman and a mirror catch box. That is for the tireless mechanic. Start his quest as quickly as possible. Your catch box, Clayman, brought to Hunter's Keep. And we know exactly what he's going to do with that. For the impeller, yes. Cannot wait to get that. That is a fantastic, fantastic engine. More so due to its fuel efficiency rather than anything else. That'll eat up a little bit of the supply we just purchased, but we should be good. We will go set off down the coast here. We'll buy up fuel in the Iron Republic, of course. Oh, you know what? Scratch that. Turn around. Right this moment, will you, ship? I need to pick up Firkins of Prisoners, honey. Honestly, as many as I can probably hold. We check out this here. 4 Blemigans abroad. I believe at 7 we get additional benefits. I think I'll try to pick up 2 sets of them. So 3 more for the 7, and then another 3 on top of that. So 10 firkins of prisoner's honey total should be enough to pick up the Blemigans required to make that possible. And we'll go trade those all for what we can get. I think we should be able to do that infinitely. I believe it's the strange catches that require a something awaits us. And we'll get some more supplies there besides, actually. So we've got, in the Iron Republic area, we've actually got both fuel for a very reasonable cost and dual-purpose supplies for a slightly less reasonable cost. I believe firkins of prisoner's honey are 25, so it's a little bit more than supplies, especially where we can find them for cheaper. But I do believe it's not a bad trade. See if we can go get this crab before our hunger carries over. And we could. Let's go lose all of that. Oh god. We'll just skirt around Mutton Isle here, I guess. With our lights off, we found everything in this area, or so I believe. Suppose I could send out a bat just to confirm. And nothing as expected. Mutton Island is still just chilling here. Ah, but we have a submarine now, so we can go and meet a wandering parson. He glances nervously back at the cock and magpie, but his handshake is strong. He seeks passage to the Church of Low Barnet, beneath the Z just outside London. His suit is well tailored for an itinerant preacher. His cufflinks wink with sapphires. Offer passage for money, offer passage for knowledge, or offer passage for a blessing. I think knowledge probably the best option. We've got plenty of money, and a blessing probably won't be too great for us, so I'd rather prefer to take the knowledge, since that seems a little bit more rare. People like to confide in parsons. What can he confide in you? A small confession. Ah, he gives a knowing smile. You travel as much as well to trade. No, you travel to learn as well as to trade. There we go. I myself am studying the religions of the Unterzee. By extracting the most admirable elements of each, I mean to construct a modern, superior faith. I understand the value, the spiritual value, of course, of hidden knowledge. Once on board, he insists you find a quiet cabin and whispers one of the secrets he's learned in your ear. Now that is interesting. Got an intriguing snippet. I was hoping for a secret, but that works too. We've picked up the wandering parson, and he, of course, wants to go to Low Barnet. Wandering parson to Low Barnet. Not too difficult. That is very close by. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the Z floor. Mostly because our terror reduction is not so great, and when you get too high in terror there, problems occur. Problems start to exist. But I think we should be able to do well enough here. At least to get him to where he's going. We can go chat up the fisherman to go grab the port at the cost of a single echo. Pretty cheap, but still nice to have. And we can visit the hilltop above town. Even though we've done this and we succeed all the time, it doesn't ever give us more. We know that there's smoke coming up from the cock and magpie. I think we'll explore along the shore instead. Wander a little way along the dock. Along the shore from the dock. Ah, a glittering eye. You turn, there's a long, lank brown man at your shoulder. Listen, he says, I have a story for you. He will go and rob us, unfortunately, if we let him tell us his story. Unfortunately for us, we have to spend Z stories and a tale of terror to do that. Or we can try to leave. Don't look back. If once he catches your eye, you'll be lost. Let's try it. Flee, you hasten along the beach. Words drift after you. Weddings of its teeth open children. Stop your ears go. A little bit of a waste of a something awaits you, but it will at least keep us from getting robbed. And, whoops, that is all we should do in Quaker's Haven. And, of course, there's some fog around us. Meaning that our lights are dimmed and no longer useful. Another crab. Can we avoid supply consumption for longer? Oh, he's a tad close, isn't he? Not close enough. We'll go and dissect it, reduce our hunger to 0, and keep on towards the Cumain Canal. Oh, we're a little far west. Don't want to crash into it, of course. Speaking of crashing into it, it looks like somebody's already done that. I've never noticed these little details before. Good to notice, though. We will go dock up here in Giannotti Harbor. And see if we can get ourselves... One, the port report. Lovely. Just perfunctory, but, you know, it's something. And, hopefully... Dang. No moves in the Great Game, unfortunately. Shame. This is one of the very limited locations you can get them, as far as I know. At least for free. Still, nice to stop off here. We'll just head down to the Iron Republic. Maybe from a roundabout route, just so we can clear off some of this black off the map here. Do want to clear out that map as much as we can. Not that I expect to find anything in these areas. This is a little too close, I'm thinking, for any more islands to exist. That said, still not a bad idea to send out a Z-Bat. As expected, though. No returns. But we will head southwards. We'll just make sure to turn in when we hit the Iron Republic. And that lovely vortex of Adam's Dune will let us know exactly when. And then the wreck of the Nocturne? No, wreck of the Miyuki, I think. Is over there. I'm still not quite sure why that isn't a location I can explore. It seems a little bit more distinct, especially considering we can explore the other one, the wreck of the Nocturne. Kind of odd, but we'll take it. And we've reached the Iron Republic with just the barest amount of fuel to spare, which is excellent because we can buy more here for a fantastic price. We'll go and grab a port report. Gained a little bit of hearts, and a tale of terror, and a memory of distant shores. Perfect. All things that I would love to have. And let's go open up the Cavalry Doctrine. What is open today? The House of Milks. Sack of Dark Drop Coffee Bean for sale. Supplies for... Actually, Sack of Dark Drop Coffee Beans for purchase. Supplies for sale. For us, that is. Do I actually have the House of Milks? Hold on a second. I've written down most of the undersea economy here, but... I see I've called it the Gesundheit conspiracy. That is why that needs to be changed. Keeping everything aligned with the House of X. Much cleaner way to keep everything. Much better to do that than have everything be called disparate things. House of Milks. Lovely. And of course, the only thing we will get here Well, we could sell our supplies. How close are we to starving? I think we can make it over to the Utter Shroom for that price, or for that amount of supply. I think we can sell some of those just so we don't overflow when we go to the Utter Shroom and trade. What was it? We'll keep one on us. Trade for Blemigans. We will be getting supplies from them. This will make us a fair bit of profit from it too. We'll pick up. Let's see. 20 fuel? 20 fuel should be enough to get to go exploring. Maybe just that much. We do have to, of course, keep space for the Blemigans we are going to be obtaining. Even that may be too much. I think we'll be alright with that. I think it'll be okay. But we will set off here to the Utter Shroom. Just across the way. Not much there to say. Except that we gotta cross the deep, dark, very empty, hopefully, ocean. Go and get there first. No music. Nice and calm. Perhaps once we hit the borders of this place? No. Wow, a quiet trip indeed. Ah, there we go. Finally kicked in. But we should here be able to trade out those firkins of prisoners honey we've picked up. The Utter Shroom. Hello, hello. How do you go? Go pick up some intelligence here. Grab the port report from the location. And there we go. We'll trade for a docile Blemigan and some supply. And I believe we should have enough with those 10 spaces that I allocated for both, because we lose a firkins of prisoners honey, opening up a slot, and then we gain 2 back. So this should be alright. This will give us 10 total supply, and docile Blemigans to boot. There we go. Not too shabby. We should be, brushing up right against that max cargo limit. Harlot Fry is going to take up a bit of space for a time, but I think it's worthwhile to keep on holding on to. I think that's a decent option. Yeah. Selling it at this stage would be preemptive, for sure, when we can get so much more off of it. But we will go set out from the Utter Shroom. That's all of our business done there. And set to Port Carnelian. And from Port Carnelian, we'll probably head east. Maybe sail back up this way through the Black to find what else is around there from Fallen London. Ah, and the area is burning blue. Don't care. It's fine. Don't be superstitious Oh, for the love of God. Don't be superstitious nitwits. I swear this is a slightly different arrangement of mushrooms than it used to be. How strange. Port Carnelian should just be here. We should be happening upon... There they are, the vortexes, the twin vortexes of Rainiers, and, what is the other one here? Veltons, that mark Port Carnelian's location. No idea why there are 2 of them actually there. I wish there's a little bit more lore on these vortexes, but not quite so much. The Z again? Yes, indeed. We are making it to Port Carnelian, though. So we should There we go. Be able to insinuate an agent into Port Carnelian. This will give us access to their affairs. And unfortunately for London, we shall not be using our potential agent for them. Not this time. Let's go try that first. This place is thick with spies. Who would notice another? Once your agent is in place, you can tap your network for information or use it to influence affairs here. Success, your agent vanishes into the Carnelian crowds. Within the week, they have found lodgings, friends, rivals, and victims. Lost 100 Echo for the trouble, but we now have a network in Port Carnelian. Which means we can look to see what they see what they need. Echoes or a tale of terror? 50 echoes is very reasonable. And with a 74% chance, that is not too bad. Money buys secrets. We'll go and spend that. A brisk trade. Beneath the bustling arches of the Blue Emporium, merchants sell sapphires, porcelain, and pickled puffballs. Your agents trade generous handfuls of coin and receive secrets in exchange, or coded messages slipped into the goods. Oh, hold on a minute. We gained 50 echo. Okay, cool. Not bad. I guess if we failed, we would have lost it. But we gained a little bit more network here for our trouble. Can we continue doing that? Storm's attention? Sure, we'll go use our insight here. Much better than inserting a second diplomatic agent. One of your operatives is troubled. Her temper is short, a flaw in a spy. My ears are full of thunder, she tells you too loud. Her eyes have turned gray as rain clouds. You understand your own sleep crackles with distant thunder. She has suffered since finding a package of gouged chelonet bones on her doorstep. A curse sent by a rival. The curse of storm. You share a bottle of black wine and stories of your dreams, the spears of lightning, the voice of thunder, the prickling weight of the air before the first downpour. Afterwards, she sleeps soundly. She wakes revivified. So we've lost Storm's attention here, but gained more network. Can we just increase this to max? Or will we get unlucky? We will be getting unlucky. We will go and use our something awaits us to go cycle that out, which actually should take hold immediately, right? Yeah, there it is. Ooh, that's a higher risk challenge. 7 Tales of Terror to go and do that. That's a lot. We're not using them in the meantime. That'll be a long-term thing. An asset once forthcoming has grown reticent. Let's go give them a cautionary tale. You tell the asset who perspires appropriately of the bloody rites conducted in Storm's temple at Chelonet, how they are always looking for celebrants, willing or otherwise. The requirements are meager, bones to break, a voice to scream. Your asset is eager to change the subject. Here come the secrets they owe you, gushing like a spray from the cracked drain pipe. Unfortunate that it cost 7 of those, but it has increased our network considerably. And a meeting with a rival spy master with a very poor chance of success. We'll probably wait to pass that one on. Let's... We'll not influence affairs here. Not yet. Let's talk to the Khanate folks. Let's talk to the Tigers, actually, in the Blue Bazaar. I haven't decided whether I will gift Port Carnelian to the natives or to the Khanate. I would like to get in the good graces with the Khanate. Seeing as I kind of intend to side with them or the Presbyterate, but I don't know if the Presbyterate actually has all that much influence over affairs in the Sunless Sea. Let's talk to the Tigers, though. The Blue Bazaar. The Carnelian coast's padding natives are eloquent, placid, and acerbic, most of the time. Trouble abroad, the Blue Bazaar is Port Carnelian's great indoor market, arched, lofty, plush with patterned carpets where vendors display their wares, most of all awash with gossip. The Tiger chats about the banded prince, their supposed monarch, and his palace deep in the jungle. You lever the conversation onto the state of his people. He has no complaints, he says. Not even about the recent reinstatement of the travel restrictions on natives, nor of the reports of a tiger killed at the jungle's edge. His tail flicks. Okay. That'll get us report, though. And I think we'll buy a bit more fuel here. We'll top ourselves off. up to there. And can we really not deposit a Blimigan here? Maybe we already did. That would be in the journal. Yeah, we have already dropped one off here. Okay, interesting. In that case, we'll just set off east, trawl up back this way to Fallen London. Kind of taking the path robotically, but it is paying off so far. We've found lots and lots of locations here. We'll hug the coast, if only to see if it changes anything. And the fact that we will be able to turn our lights off if we do need. Librarian's Grotto. I wonder if we sided with the tigers, if we'd be able to see the banded prince then. That'd be interesting. That's a location we have not heard of anywhere other than in that specific conversation there. We'll go turn the light off and periodically flash it on. There we go, like that. Booble's Thicket. For reasons just like so. No islands, as sort of expected. Once we get about halfway in here, we'll probably set off back north. Maybe when we get to Adam's Way, which should be around here. Uh-oh. Ooh, that's not good. Right, Blue Prophets. Those guys hit like a truck, and they are wily to boot. Luckily, they do seem to be heading away from us. There is this whole, like, archipelago here. Prying Heights, Andromeda's Rocks. There's this whole archipelago down here, but there's nothing of interest, which I am sort of sad that there isn't. Feels like there should be so much more here. But we'll go set off from shore and see what exists out here. Another light ship. Are you guys also going to be... I bet they will. You guys also going to be unfriendly to me? Yep, Captain Mushroom. The tales live on. Ah, shame. Oh well. Nothing within range. I suppose we could probably afford to head a little further west. Something Forgotten is here. That's a new one. Wow, really nothing around here. You kidding? Just an empty space. Wow. That's a whole lot of nothing then. I was really expecting to find something of note. Unless our Z-Bats have gone insane and they're just doing aerial tricks instead of actually searching. Ah, maybe Fathom King's Hold? Judging by that log entry? Waves cluttered with Z-Rack, like drowned hair drifting. Or Rack, maybe. Rack out here wouldn't be terrible. Ah, Pigmote Isle, finally. And we will absolutely be going for might for Pigmote Isle. I would like them to live this time. There they are. But we will, of course, side with the rats again. I think they have the best option here. Pigmote Isle, two houses both alike in dignity. On a lonely desert beach, there is no habitation in sight, no market, only an old, damp, rotting dock. A stretch of sand thickens into damp, black earth, from which a sprout stunted palms, not quite, tall fungal growths, with frond-like caps, as if someone had sculpted the idea of a tree from a mushroom. Well, let's disembark and see what awaits you. War. As you step onto the quay, you hear clamor, shouts, and shooting. You can see off in the distance smoke rising from beyond the hill and dots of fire flecking the horizon. Two tiny figures stand a little further down the quay, unmoving, as if awaiting your approach. A literary interlude. The following is an extract from the popular Diary of a Z Captain from London to Irem and what we did there before we arrived. Washed ashore on Mutton Island and subsequently serialized in the Unexpurgated Gazette. The author's identity remains unknown. Of course, this is me being told in perpetuity. The Tale of Pigmote Isle, in which a delegation is made, a choice is presented, war is declared, and a most singular treasure is sought by all in the new empire founded with tooth and claw. Chapter 1, The Delegation. The figures were rodents. To my left was a Ratus Faber, wearing goggles, a blacksmith's apron, and an assortment of tools. To my right, an unusually large guinea pig, wearing a helmet and breastplate reminiscent of nothing so much as the high Middle Ages. Rat stepped forward first and bowed. Welcome, Captain, to Rat Star Island. I am Edgar, second chief engineer of the 3rd Rat Brigade. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice. The rat stepped back at precisely the same moment, with what appeared to be an ease of long habit. The guinea pig scuttled forward and made a declamatory chirp. Welcome, Captain, to the Isle of Cavia. I am Lady Augusta Devereaux, Swinch of the Blackwater Swinches, Seneschal to our King, Grace Na. First of his name, I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice. The two stood at attention, looking at me expectantly. Wait, can you not save them this playthrough? No, you can definitely save them the playthrough. For sure, they reset. I'm very hopefully sure. But I will be choosing Might over Spirit this one. The two remarkable rodents sat, squatted, both seeking my support. I knew I had to choose carefully. Let's hear them both out, but I've heard their story quite a few times, so I think I know who I will talk to, or who I will side with. I spoke to the chief engineer. His eyes had a wave-cold glint to them, and he wore his scars like jewels. A rat in the making. I asked the chief engineer to elaborate. He looked at me for a long, measured moment before speaking gruffly. We came to this island to make a home for ourselves away from London, its cats and its snuffers, its rat skin suits. We came to live as citizens of our own republic. We came with our tools, our teeth, our clever hands. We made a beautiful city by the light of the rat star that shone bright and blue on Mount Ararat. The chief engineer nodded towards a distant hill. One day we braved the depths of the chicken woods, and from the top of Mount Ararat we plucked the rat star to be our light, our beacon. But the pigs of Cavie saw the light and they lusted for it. They sent armies to rule us and steal our star. We will not permit them to take what is ours. We will resist to our last breath. Will you join us in defeating them? I thought that this was just a story of your father's time with them. No. This whole section is told as in perpetuity, as if you were reading back from that book. Let's speak to the seneschal as well. How did an armored guinea pig manage to look regal? A knight out of habit, the seneschal cleared her throat with a delicacy to rival the duchess's own before speaking. Grace Na the king, our lord and sovereign, full 7 months his sojourn on the sea. Conquered this land and won the southern main. Now no fortress against him shall remain. He rhymed main with remain. And sovereign with sea, which maybe they're just bad. Maybe they're just bad at rhyming. Maybe they're not trying to rhyme. Maybe it's a broken poetry combination. Is this a limerick? Maybe. No, definitely not a limerick. But we'll keep on. I suck at poetry, so I'm not even going to try to figure out the tempo or didactic syllabacy or whatever it is. No city walls be left for him to gain, save the rats that squeak behind mountain. Unlikely was the lamb of our deliverance. Assured be our glories and their fall, when our lady's eye restored be to our hall. The seneschal composed herself, then added, we saw truth and beauty by the light of our lady's eye on Mount Caveat. Caveat, I think, is actually, because they're cavey guinea pigs or something like that, right? Something like that. But the rats with their guns and their chatter and their peasants' politics stole it from us. We will subjugate them and take it back. They are a rabble, and we will rule them with the steel-shod velvet of our paws. Will you join us? Actually, hold on a second. You are entirely right. I am playing a poet in this playthrough. And beyond just that, I think the guinea pigs are actually probably better suited to ruling with a mighty fist, since they do seem like conquerors in and of themselves. While I personally support the rats' their intentions in creating a new fortress for themselves. I think that needs to dictate that I should side with the guinea pigs, which I did not expect. And I guess that would fit with our captain. We are a poet. Plus, we haven't seen this choice yet. I feel so bad for the rats, but let's side with the seneschal here. I had heard more than enough. I was ready to make my choice, just to double check. They got here, conquered the land. Except for the rats, I guess they fought off other areas? So I think that the, what did they call it? The, lady's eye was just sitting up on top of a mountain, and the rats end up using it because they need it for, hunting and what such. As bad as it feels, since I loved siding with the rats, they seemed like decent folk, I'm gonna side with the seneschal. I had heard more than enough. I was ready to make my choice. I don't really want them to kill the rats. I hope we can broker an agreement between the two of them. But of course, if we attempt to broker the peace, surely their commonalities were more numerous than their differences. Perhaps I could help them get along. No. My words helped them reach an agreement. The chief engineer and the seneschal shared a look, then regarded me with scornful amusement. Yes, smirked the chief engineer, you're obviously much cleverer than us. Oh, much, murmured the seneschal. You clearly know us much better than we know ourselves. Apparently, idealism will not help here. Well, let's favor the seneschal. Was it her charm or a fondness for London's rat-skin coats that swayed me? Definitely not the latter. Perhaps a little bit of both? No, not the latter at all, honestly. Well, the rats are fine. At any rate, I was keen to find out more about their civilization. Isn't it like whichever one you choose enslaves the other, and you can intercede on the enslaved one to get peace? I hope so. A friend to Cavies, I bowed to the seneschal, who purred with pleasure, while the chief engineer gnashed his teeth but kept his distance. You've chosen wisely, Captain, said the seneschal. Come and I will explain our situation to you in greater detail. Bit of fuel, and some supplies. A night out of habit. Having chosen the Cavies. The seneschal led me to the southern side of the island, skirting the chicken woods. We passed through a number of raised mounds of earth, mixing with fortifying strips of mushroom flesh, which I supposed to be makeshift walls. The settlement was dazzling. The side of the island appeared to be absolutely wreathed in scintillic. The Cavies' dwelling was awash with silver phosphorescence. It was a large colony. Most noticeable was the steam pinnace, the impossible lamp that had run aground, from which the Cavies came and went, bearing supplies. To the right of the ship, farther down the beach, a large group of Cavies lay on bundles of colorful cloth, whining and wailing as if in pain. To the left of the ship was a ramshackle tent of poles and linen, in front of which guinea pigs clashed against each other and sharpened their teeth. Oh my god, they're so cute. Yes-ish. They are kind of murderous, but they're very knightly, I suppose. Meant the image. It's okay. I don't really have a thing for guinea pigs, but if you enjoy how they look, I will not take that from you. Anyway, in the center of the village was a covered dais, veritably festooned with colorful cloth and guarded by well-decorated knights. I suspected this was where King Gracenok kept counsel. Be welcome, Captain, in the kingdom of Cavia, capital of our isle and blessed by the light of Our Lady's eye. The seneschal spoke solemnly, with a hint of sadness to her words. Or so it was, and shall be again. I must speak with our king and prepare your arrival. My page will show you the area, and bring you in sight of his splendor in good time. Page, a much smaller guinea pig, its fur braided with a slender strip of parabolin, scurried over and bowed. The seneschal took her leave. Wow. So this is all new to me. This is completely new. So let's visit the hospital, shall we? Were those guinea pigs quarantined? The Black Death? The Black Death? Are you kidding? An elderly-looking Cavie greeted me, eyeing me gravely. Many of us sickened during the voyage, a rotting in our teeth, a weakness in the flesh. This isle was our salvation. The stronger among us made a pilgrimage toward the pool of Our Lady's light, and then, miracle of miracles, they were cured. They bathed in her, they drank her sweet waters, and the strong brought the weak to her in turn. Soon we were thriving again, bearing our children and raising them to love Our Lady's eye and see in it our deliverance. The elder looked sorrowfully at the sick under his care. Since the rats stole her, the sickness has returned. All this light is but a mockery of hers, and we gain from it no benefit. The only thing, the elder's ears and voice flattened in a hiss, that helps our condition is the flesh, the very hearts and livers of the rat who stole her from us. Oh dear. Wow, so I guess both sides kind of have their own thing. I guess since I've only ever experienced the rat sides 2 or 3 times, I kind of assumed they were the underdogs, but the Cavies also have a pretty decent reason for wanting to have control of, what is it, their lady's eye, I think it is? I visited the steam pinnace on the beach. Was this indeed the impossible lamb? Wasn't it reported overrun by rats? A chalky shore, the page chittered while I inspected the vessel. Rats, never. The splendor of Cavie overtook this vessel. I was born here, the first native of Cavia, but all our elders remember the voyage. It was hard, they say, but we were harder. But the sea is black and unkind. We were lost in the dark for weeks, and no one speaks of those terrible times. But out of the darkness came the light of Our Lady's eye, guiding us here to our own isle. In time we will ride the waves again, perhaps, once we have recovered our eye. Is it not splendid? It certainly may have been, at one time, but I could see the hull had been severely damaged by the scintillate reefs. There was no way the Cavies could hope to repair it themselves. Whatever the page said, they were stranded here. So the rats, I believe the rats kind of stowed away, and came here. I believe that was how their story was, to escape the conditions and fall in London. These guys took over a ship by force, for presumably the same reason. It's not explicit. Maybe I'll discover more as to why they fled later in the quest, but let's see what else we can learn. Of course, the most important part in the war, the barracks. What chance could guinea pigs stand against the weaponed might of the Rattus Faber? I thought these guys were the better armored, were they not? At least that was how it was presented from the rat side, so... Evening the odds. The page led me to the barracks where the knights didn't deign to speak to one so undecorated as I. The page, however, was eager to answer my questions. The rats have no weapons, none to speak of. What is a gun without a bullet? A sword without a blade? Ours are the supplies, the knives, the soft stuffs, and the glory. Their teeth are sharp, it is true, while ours, the page hesitated as the knights glowered at him, are sharper. All praise to the flowers of the house of Cavie. One knight preened, while another grunted indifference, working a whetstone along its top front teeth. As I watched, a particularly vigorous swipe knocked a whole incisor out of place. It landed on the ground in a black and bloody mess. The knight gasped, grasped the tooth, and vanished from sight. Another glared in a way that dared me to make something of it. These guys are not as well equipped. They're a little egoistic, but okay. Well, that's all we can look at. I'd seen enough. It was time for my audience with the king. Let's go see what they have to say. An urgent venture. The page led me, crouching at first, then on my knees, before King Gracenaught and the seneschal. The king was the largest guinea pig I had ever seen, easily twice the size of the largest knight in his retinue. The seneschal looked positively dainty next to him. We are told, intoned the king, that you have promised your assistance to the house of Cavie. This is agreeable to us, but what form shall your assistance take? Well, we have 100% of retrieving the eye by force, or we could steal the eye with cunning. And I think, obviously, the second one is going to be nicer. I think that's a little bit more attractive to us. Big boy guinea pig. Guinea big. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Let's plot to steal the eye with cunning here. One should use shadows to catch a light. The rats would not even know we had been there, probably. Let's give that one a shot. ships in the night, I spent a few hours scouting the rat's shoreline, determining the best point of approach. There, a cove thick with chickenwood, too small and cramped for guards to fear the mooring of a boat. My crew rowed me over to the very knife's edge of the shadow cast by the blazing eye, and I carefully swam the rest. From shore, it was an easy enough matter to pick my way toward the settlement, and once I was within 20 feet of the eye, I sprinted. The rats shouted in alarm and scurried towards me, but my legs easily outpaced them. I smothered the eye in my wet clothing and bound it with it towards the boat, waiting in the shallows, while the rats around me fired wildly into the sudden dimness, wailing their loss to the Z. The KVs rewarded me suitably on my return. They're now creating civilization here. Spirit is 3, might is 4, vulnerable. Civilization is 5. We've gained 10 fuel. I guess we can fix that. The rats were defeated. Cavia was triumphant. All of that remained were the celebrations and the continuation of our voyage. Oh, how we feasted long into the night. Then, what shall we do? First, let's speak up on behalf of the rats. The survivors were being treated poorly. The rift did not seem entirely insurmountable. Let's help them out. The spoils of war, I appealed to the House of Cavy's grace and good breeding, and praised King Gracenaw's magnanimity. Perhaps the rats knew not what they did in stealing the eye. Perhaps they were only stumbling about in the dark for a light, as the Cavies were themselves while lost at Z. The seneschal and the king exchanged a look. The seneschal murmured something deep into the king's ear, and he growled deep in his throat. Normally into the king's ear, growling deep in his throat. You saw only the frond tip of our suffering, Captain. The rats must answer for every drop of noble blood spilt, and in kind. We will require a great many hearts and livers to repair the health of our great kingdom. Our young shall eat their old as is meat. Fuck. Okay. The king's courtiers chittered appreciatively at this wordplay, while the knights separated the screaming young rats from the adults who had given up trying to fight. Oh my god, I made the wrong choice! These guys are dicks! What the heck was that? Couldn't forge peace? What the heck, dude? Well, I just doomed the rats to non-existence. I should have sided with the rats. Screw these guinea pigs, honestly. I hope you guys get taken over. What dicks. I cannot believe it. Well, I guess we'll take one of their own. I invited one of the cavies to join us. They were reputed to be excellent swimmers, adorable enough to boost morale, and if times should become lean, I thought maybe a guinea pig stew would buy the crew a day or two before they started eating each other. Yeah. Welcome aboard. The seneschal, of course, couldn't abandon her duties, but she made certain my request was cried out in the village square. The page squeaked excitedly and sought permission from her to join my party. I will record your doings for the glory of Cavy, he declared, and I'd like to see more of the world. I waited for him to gather up some effects and say goodbye to his family before lifting anchor and setting off. We have the guinea page. God, really? They're gonna eat freaking rats? I cannot believe after all that happened, I should have blown them out of the water. I should have sided with the rats and blown them to smithereen. What dicks these guys are. Preposterous. Okay. The wide dark Z beckoned. We'd eaten our fill and our business was concluded. It was time to continue the voyage and see what other wonders and terrors still awaited us. We are overweight. Over capacity here. We'll just toss some fuel over. That's okay. Not great, but it's okay. Well, the end. There, you finish your diary entry and the final morsels of delicious rat flesh. The cavies line up to salute you as you leave the victory banquet, escorting you to your ship through the foundations of their new kingdom. What crotch monsters? God. At least we have a guinea page. Neat little guy. The page is all right. The page is he's a pleasant fellow. The king is a dick. The seneschal is also kind of a dick. But we'll have to go with that. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that great of stats. Well, let's see the rise of Pigmote Isle then. Hail Cavia, the Neath's most adorable nation, scurries around your legs if you forget the fact that they are cannibals. Scintillic harvesters drag heavy bags of the island's bounty to their silos. Industrious rodents work hard on towering edifices, some of them almost neck-high. London will never believe a bloody word of this. Oh, but we can get Scintillic here. That's actually not half bad. Let's visit the Rat Ghetto. First thing first. The House of Cavia has not been gracious in victory. Yeah, hell no. The Cavies have forced their rivals into the swamps and hold them there with a high, spiked wall. Thick black mud squelches underfoot as you pass through the guarded gates. Hungry eyes watch your approach. God, I would love to broker a union here. We need to raise spirit, though. Okay, so I know this from a little bit of research. I was terribly, terribly uninformed the last time, so I got very sad about that. And apparently, spirit, when the outsiders come to join, if you want to go for independence, your spirit needs to be low and your civilization and might needs to be high. Don't do the rodent revolution. I wasn't really planning on that one. It'll cost us 5 iron, which is not great. I would love to broker a union, but I need to increase spirit here. Which I guess I can do with fuel. It'll also banish you from Pigmote Isle? Oh, no. Yeah, definitely not that, then. I'll smuggle fuel into the ghetto. The rats huddle for heat, clinging tight to scraps of stolen blankets. Let's bring them some of the fuel that they ever so kindly gave us, those guinea pigs, those cavies. A sly delivery, a small bribe to a small bribe to a small guard. Ah, there we go. Gets the delivery through the gates. The rats scrape together what little they can to repay your kindness. Oh, that's very kind of them. Bit of parabola linen. I am going to continue visiting the rat ghetto here and smuggling that in until I think we have a decent chance. Smuggling fuel will increase it up to 5. You need 10 to guarantee success with attempting to broker a union. That I figured. So I guess this will be the last bit of fuel we can do. Oh, we gained a sack full of skulls. Who the hell puts skulls in a sack? 3 lamentable relics is our reward. And I could release a Blemigan on the island. That would probably end poorly. Very poorly. Let's wait till we have something awaits us. We'll release Blemigans on the island later, maybe. I think Blemigans would probably eat through the guinea pigs and the rats. But we won't buy any Scintillic yet. Let's save things for later. God, what dicks, though. I cannot believe that happened. Well, we have Pigmote Isle to know. We should come back here when we have something awaits us present. Luckily, it's not terribly far north of the Iron Republic, so if we end up going east on the southern side of the map, we should stop by here with our something awaits us to go and fix that up. I'm hoping that if we attempt a union with the two parties, that they will... that'll be a repeatable thing, because I don't think we'll be able to get that up to 10 reasonably. Oops, the angler crab knows we're here. Is he going to continue to know we're here? Not if we hide. Okay, there we go. We're along the coast now. Ooh, a vortex. Has this always been here? The Dubois Maelstrom. Is this supposed to be by something? I cannot tell. But at least Pigmote Isle is technically alive. For now. Bloody Angler Crab is going to continue angler crabbing. Labyrinth of Eels is here. And, ooh, what is this? Another rock, probably. Yeah, looks like it. Lick-a-Monkey Crag. Strange name, that. But, okay. Well, what to do? There's probably no more islands here. We could go back to Fallen London. We've got 12 fuel, though. Khan's Glory, some distance to your east. Ooh. That's not half bad, then. And in fact, I think I just caught the edge here. Yeah, down south. Wow, so the Khanate is really far south in this playthrough. There's Leopard, there's the Khanate. Khan's Glory. Unfortunately, this means we are going to lose our officer here. You know what? We did say that we did want to proposition her before she left. I always liked you back when we were still on the rooftops. A tussled heap, you bear her laughing to the bunk where you both do your best to stifle the laughter. It wouldn't do to have the crew over here. An affair with an officer would cause trouble. The gunner is lean, forthright, and energetic. You are both exhausted by the time you both drift off to sleep. Started the affair, we've lost a little bit of terror. And unfortunately, we shall lose her. In just a moment here, when we drop her off at the Khanate. Well, maybe not at the Khanate. Khan's Shadow, I think, is where she wanted to go, and we have yet to find that. It should, I do believe, be somewhere by Khan's Glory, but I could be wrong about that. Lots of houses here, including the Tiamin. Let's see what Khan's Glory has to say for us. A place of stately isolation. Here are the palaces of the Khan and his court, each a fortress to itself. Sleek lords and ladies in belted ropes breakfast on balconies. An unlikely antelope peeks at you from apart. Guns rotate easily on motorized gimbals. And if we had stacks of dark drop coffee beans, we could give that to Leopard. If we had drowning pearls, we could give that to the Tiamin. But I think we'll do more here. Let's take a meeting concerning a matter of no importance. A servant of the Tiamin is missing. His loss is a danger. There is a place one doesn't speak of, officially a former servant of the Tiamin who did not engage in the gathering of strategic information, did not disappear to the undersea port of Antha, which officially does not exist. At length you hear what this servant did not look like, and strict prohibitions against pursuing him. Officially, no one at Khan's Glory would have any interest, or be at all inclined to reward you with money and connections if you were to go to Antha. They would not care for a report of his situation or any information he may be unable to bring home. Okay. Well, Khanate requires that we go to Antha, wherever that happens to lie. And, could go release at Blemmigan. Might as well. Perhaps it can sneak under the noses of these grandly epauletted guards with their frighteningly modern weapons. Blemmigan negation. The Blemmigan halts atop the rails. It directs its eyeless dome towards the guards. It folds its tendrils. The message is quite clear. I guess not. Doesn't quite want to go here. But we have our quest from them. Let's go and, make our way to Khan's Heart, shall we? So that should be just to the south here. I've been here so often, I sometimes forget that the art here is amazing. Look at that statue. Like, look at that. All of the detail in the buildings and whatnot. God, that's neat. And, of course, over here, the copper quarter. Oops. A little too close. Copper and Nefrite quarters here. Khan's Heart, London's rival. Khan's Heart, London's rival, an oasis of light in the salt black wastes. Canals thread the painted city, street lamps glow, and water taxis puttered. A panicked wave. There's someone in the shadows trying to draw your attention with equal parts discretion and desperation. Sure, let's hear. The impolite investigator shakes your hand with extreme vigor. Good day, Captain. When do we leave port? Can your ship outrun the Khan's best? Not that you'll have to, but it'd be comforting to know that you could. Well, he needs to escape, and you can get him away. Let's take his hint. I'll welcome myself aboard. Where's my bunk? He heads up the plank before you. He continues talking, expecting you to keep up. The Kaganians didn't seem to like me asking questions. Not many people do. It may be popular in most ports, but there's still one I haven't tried. Could you take me to Hideaway? It's beneath the waves on the back of a giant beast. You cannot miss him. Miss it, rather. And he has asked us to take him to Hideaway. All right, then, impolite investigator. We may have murdered you before, but we are not going to do that this time. To Hideaway. And a commercial license. The Kaganians dislike merchants, they dislike foreigners. Foreign merchants induce paroxysm of antipathy. Perhaps sufficient bribes will buy your way into the Nefrit Quarter. Not here, surfacer? Surfacer, but the Kaganians have been generations underground, and to them all Londons are surfacers. Seems you'll need to go to Khan's Glory, the nearby palaces of nobility, to seek a license. Ah, right. We need to bribe one of them to get us a Nefrit ring. Fortunately, we don't have a spy anymore. Could try putting a Blemigan ashore here. But I think we will try to not do that. I think we've got a good enough chance at gathering a port report, though, to do it. The Khanate generally assumes that all foreigners or spies are worse. It would be a shame to disappoint them, but it might be dangerous to prove them right. Let's see if we, which we shall do. Precious scraps, rivalry between the Leopard and Eagle clans, the concern about Chelenit raids, some appalling gossip about the traitor Empress back in London. Perhaps you shouldn't write that last one down and move on quickly. That fellow in the corner has an informer's look. Got a little bit of Kaganian suspicion, but we also have a port report from Khan's Heart. Could wander Khan's Heart. Don't need to get crew, don't need fuel at the prices that we... Jesus Christ, 50 Echo for fuel or supply. Could get some stories off of a storyteller, but that will increase our suspicion, and I don't want to get that too high. Don't want to have to deal with that quite yet, especially since we have not found Dehoot, where we can get very cheap, or very consistent, rather, Drowny Pearls. Let's just wander the place. Foreigners are restricted to the Copper Quarter, but as long as you don't try to cross the bridges, you can explore in reasonable safety. A shrine of the deep blue heaven. Above, the roof of the Neath is black, impassive, prickled with false stars, but the Kaganians still remember the sky. You pass an open-walled shrine with a domed roof. The interior is painted a deep, pure indigo. Citizens kneel below it, while a blue priest speaks. As he reaches the climax of his prayer, a rosy golden light swells inside the dome. The worshippers murmur in complacent delight. The dome is now a perfect, heartbreaking morning sky blue, a color you haven't seen for how long? Filament bulbs, your bosun whispers importantly beside you. Give me honest gaslights any day. Bah. Lost 5 terror for it, though, so not too bad an option. And that will probably be all we do here. We will eventually need to go and get our way in. I probably won't go the coffee bean path. That is a pretty expensive way. Let's go and head back up to Khan's Glory. I just want to double check how much we need for to get in here. Go and travel with our lights off, of course. Just to save on that little speck of fuel that we can from it. There we go. Let's see, we need Leopard's Condescension of 5. So that would be 25 total gifts to the Leopard. Or we can go the Tiamat. Maybe? Not quite sure how that one would work. Maybe we do need to end up going with the dark drop coffee beans. That would be a lot of cash to drop on that, though. Quite a bit. Still, food for thought. Let's see, 9 fuel. I think we can keep heading south here. Maybe. Let's south a little further. Once we hit 4, maybe we'll book it back to Pigmoat Isle. Since I think... No, in fact, we can't get fuel there. Maybe this is a poor risk evaluation here. Maybe we should just set back off. Good old-fashioned way. There's the actual Nefri quarter. We will skirt kindly by. Yeah, let's just make our way over to Pigmoat Isle here. More... Yeah, just guns. Unlit guns. Will we get our something awaits us before we get back? I would like to help the cavies out. Want to raise spirit a fair bit. Not too high. Once we get to 60 or 70%, I think, we'll try and merge the two species here. We've got our something awaits us back, though, so let's help Cavius resolve a dilemma, shall we? Nade runs over. Hairless advisor, you return to us. Praise the tide, we need your wisdom once again. A dilemma on Pigmoat Isle. A cloaked man... Already? No. No way. Okay, wait. Hold on. A cloaked man in a hippo mask stands surrounded by a pack of rodent soldiers. We caught this one sneaking around by the aide hesitates, pause sketching the shape of Pigmoat's blue scintillic. What should we do with him, hairless advisor? Let's speak with him first. He claims to be from an island called Visage. Beyond that, the rodents have learned nothing. A visitor from the land of masks, he draws himself to his full height, flourishing blessings upon you, noble frog. The light of our lost left eye draws our gaze. I have come to confirm it as our scryers foretold, and the speech goes on for some time. Damn it. Is there anyone in the Neath that doesn't covet Cavia's lump of blue scintillic? Okay, I thought this was the delegation already. But it is not. Sending him back might mean that it will come sooner. Whichever you choose just gives you a boost in +1 boost in that. Yeah. Let's go for civilization. Think might is an alternative to spirit for a lot of them. Let's advocate for his release. Pigmoat Isle is not ready to handle the repercussions of imprisoning or executing a citizen of another nation. Go for civilization here. A treasure for all to admire. The man from Visage is released, free to tell stories of what he saw here. In time, others will no doubt come to see for themselves. That will increase Cavia's legitimacy. A furry general grumbles about the additional burden of handling visitors. We might have wanted to detain him. But I would really like to get them merged. 49% chance of success is not great. We could give fuel, but we don't have very much left of that. How is our distance to... Iron Republic's pretty distant, same to Fallen London. I think we'll unfortunately need to sit on the fuel for just a little bit more. I would like to fix up the rat ghetto, though. We'll be done here. We'll be finished. On Pigmoat Isle. Let's head back to Fallen London, shall we? Hugging Pigmoat Isle as much as possible, of course. We could take on this Gillifleur. I don't think that's probably the best option that we have. We will just hug the islands here until we get back to Fallen London. So we can save on as much fuel as possible. And I think we will return to the Khanate area. It's a really weird location that is in. I'm so used to it being up by Irem that that's just throwing me for a full loop there. And I suppose we can stop off by Demuth Island and the Cumaean Canal. See if we can get first move in the Great Game. Oh, and there's a fog bank. Lovely. But we can see if we can get a move in the Great Game from them, because we still do need that for our lovely first tattoo. But of course, first we shall dock in the Iron and Misery co-funging station, but not before the stars change. The lookout shouts. Far above, the false stars and the cavern roof are shifting, a rare and ominous event. What now? Record the change and assign a name. If the new shape seems well-omened, your crew may be cheered. Who knows? The alarming pig. Pigs, one sailor's eyes. Zailor sighs. There we go. It's always pigs. What's wrong with pigs? The bosun shakes a solemn head. Never ask about pigs at sea, he insists. A little bit of terror gained for our trouble. Unfortunate, but unavoidable. And it was only one terror. I think we should be doing all right. But we've made it to the Iron and Misery co-funging station. Yeah, let's throw a Blummigan ashore. Though it's far from hospitable, a kind of homecoming. The Blummigan propels itself into a springing leap, up to a bulbous trunk, into the thickets. It whistles as it goes, and deeper in the fungal jungle, a whistling rises in response. There are already Blummigans here. Oh. Okay. I did not realize that there were already Blummigans here. Let's compile a port report too. The Admiralty likes to keep an eye on Iron and Misery's activity. Of course, it's not very interesting, but we'll record what we can and what to do with our something awaits us here. How far are we from Cumaean Canal? A fair distance. I think we can regain it by the time we get over there. Don't need more people, even if they are cheap. Could have some tea with the Factor. I think we'll just explore Demuth Island instead. Close, crowded thickets of Bologus and Skirily. The Iron and Misery Company fells them daily, but they grow back almost as fast. The interior of the island is dark and wild. A Blemmigan colony. At the heart of a salty little bog, you come upon a pulsing mound of Blemmigans. They are rich, dark purple like viscera, perhaps, or blackberries. They chitter as they swarm. The sound is like pebbles on a beach. Be careful, a single Blemmigan is a nuisance, 100 are a calamity. Let's try to observe them. It's not as good a chance, but I don't want to assault them yet. Or at all, rather. Since we are helping them out in from the Utter Shroom. Let's observe the colony. Fascinating creatures. Learn what you can. A bit of a failure, though. It's only 2 fragments. Mildly diverting. They're some sort of purple mushroom. Unlike most purple mushrooms, they have tentacles and fangs, and they run around a lot. That's as much as you get. Perhaps your mind's not on it. Yeah, well. Gave it a shot. Didn't quite get anything from it. So we'll be done in Demuth Island. Apparently, we can just dump as many Blummigans there as we want. But, of course, that is not going to be a great solution. We would much rather take them elsewhere. Such as the Cumaean Canal, perhaps? Maybe. We shall see. It is a quiet journey. Gillifleur off to the south, but we should, I believe, be almost to the Cumaean Canal. Yeah, you can see the Albertine Gates right up there. Man, I miss traveling at speed. Did some research on what's necessary for Pigmote Isles independence success. Do you want me to let you know? I already kind of do know. I did a bit of research on my own after I failed quite so spectacularly last time. I just need to get might and civilization as high as possible while keeping spirit low enough. But since we're at the Humane Canal, let's go throw a Blemmigan shore. Is there anywhere for it to grow? Probably not. No soil, no rot. This place is stone and iron. Even Blemmigans cannot set root here. Oh, wow. I can't even drop it off, though. All right. Listen for surface gossip instead. Maybe. No. Dang. Still no moves in the great game. God, we are getting screwed over by that. And we have 3 fuel. I think we can make it back to Fallen London with that. We got supplies. We got plenty of supplies. We will use our lights as sparingly as possible. And perhaps not even at all, though we are at a little bit too high of terror for me to be entirely comfortable with that. That said, we're a little too low of fuel to do the same. Actually, keeping spirit low doesn't benefit at all. In fact, it might hurt you. Oh. Okay. That is unfortunate. Need to have might plus civ plus a random number between 1 and spirit. Greater than 17. That seems different from what I read and interpreted. I was under the impression that spirit was detrimental to that. It's 1 over spirit. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I misinterpreted the wikis. Or I think I actually used a thread there. 1 to spirit. Okay, so maybe I guess we just want to increase all of it. Oh well, in that case, raising spirit is not a bad idea after all, especially as it allows us to integrate the rats into that dickwad society of guinea pigs. God, I hate them. Oh well. We'll go dock and Fallen London here. And we have nothing to hide from the Ministry of Public Decency. Except for all those Blemmigans, but hopefully they don't notice that. Raising spirit is only a bad idea if it's instead of might or civilization. Ah, okay, I see. Blind Bruiser on dock. Someone else wants to sign on. Excellent. We still don't have a single move in the great game to go and throw a tattoo of ourselves on. I can't believe that. How unlucky of us. Let's go turn in our port reports first, shall we? Actually, hold on. How is our hold space doing? Plentiful. We're just doing plentifully. To the Humane Canal. Exists. Pigmoat Isle. I'm not sure I heard you correctly. Are you quite certain this is the report you wish to make? So be it. We'll gain 10 echo. A bit of fuel in Admiralty's favor. Been to the salt steppes, eh? Yes, this kind of material is always of interest. How a nation could be so barbarian and so decadent at once is beyond me. But they are terribly dangerous. We gain 75 echo from that, which is fantastic. And a bit of fuel. The Udder Shroom sucks, as always. But it's a pretty decent price for the suckitude. And the Iron Republic is blank. Okay, we lost a little bit of terror. We didn't gain terror this time. Port Carnelian exists. Quaker's Haven also exists. News Gate is pretty basic, and that is all of the port reports that we managed to gather. We will go pick up another agent from the voracious diplomat here. I have a friend, the diplomat says casually, who'd be grateful for passage somewhere else, the Khanate, for instance, or Port Carnelian. Well, let's go oblige. I don't know why it is costing us favors to go pick her up, or her or him up, I suppose. Especially as we're doing it as a favor, but I suppose it is serving. They are serving us uniquely, so I don't believe they report to the voracious diplomat directly at all. So we will have to go and get them set in the Khanate. Or elsewhere, I suppose. I think the Khanate and Port Carnelian are the 2 locations there where a agent from the diplomat actually come in handy. Maybe there's one in Varkas. Maybe... Well, no, because we've done Varkas with an agent in our inventory. Yeah, no clue. No idea. We'll go pick one up anyway. What's your Pigmont Isle Progress of a Nation score? Let's see here. Civilization 6, Might 4, Progress of a Nation, question mark, and Spirit is 5. So that is 15 total, which is not half bad, actually. If we only need to get it over 17, that's not too bad. Though I guess a random number between 1 and Spirit. So that could go poorly. We will need to raise Civilization and Might better. Might is 4. Since we're back here, check in with the Alarming Scholar. I don't think we have much to give them. Except for this intriguing snippet, perhaps? No, we'll go and hold on to that since we only have the one. You can get both Civ and Might to 8. That's a guaranteed success. Yeah, that's not wrong. We'll try to focus on those as much as possible. Spirit is chancy. So I want enough Spirit to at least ingratiate them to each other. To integrate them to each other. Let's see, what else to do here? Well, we might as well pick up some more crew, or rather an officer. Hopefully. Ah, the genial magician. Good afternoon, Captain. Perhaps I can do your engines some good. No, haha, I'm quite the engineer. Difficult to credit, isn't it? But here are my references. And we'll go pick him up. Welcome aboard. I'll get to work below. Perhaps I should change out of this jacket first, of course. Loss of 50 echoes, but we will have the genial magician. But of course we will focus on the tireless mechanic instead. Or his quest leads to gains. Great gains above, I do say. What else to do in Fallen London, though? Well, our terror is a little high, so we'll go and rest. Lost 100 echo, but we lost 15 terror along with it. Do we have anything to build here yet to increase any stats? No. Seems not. Okay, not the worst. But also not great. I guess that's kind of everything to do here, since we don't want to take the Labyrinth of Tigers up on their offer to buy the Harlot Fry. Don't want to do Clathermont's Parlor yet. Done everything with the Admiral, and we don't want to take up anything for the Gracious Diplomat, though I don't think we actually have anything from them either. And the Venturer's Desire is also pretty standard, and this will take all of the Blemigans from our inventory, I do believe. So we won't give that up. Let's try to expand our Blemigan storage, shall we? So where have we to go? We could go north this time. Drop them off in Wither and Codex, Benderbite, Guider's Mourn. The Salt Lions, maybe? We could go run the Salt Lions back quickly to Fallen London and drop some off at the Shepherd's Isle, and maybe even Hunter's Keep. Ah, and we can go to Low Barnet to go drop off the fellow there. Wandering Parson. Yeah, sure, let's do that. So we'll go a quick trip north, clear some of these Blemigans out of our inventory, and figure out from there. But first we need to go get ourselves some more fuel. Or not. Right, because we picked it up from the Admiral. I think we will need some more. We want to get all the way around to the north. I think 20 would probably be a good amount. And some supplies would do well as well. I guess we can only buy up to 8. We don't have that much cargo space, thanks to the Blemigans, of course. So let's carry on. Shall we attach a nice weapon of some sort? Bridge or auxiliary? as well. Ah, right, we have no room in the hold for any of this. Secure compartment may be... Well, if we ever do sunlight trading, that'll be a good idea to use. Everything else, though. Barring maybe this, but that really doesn't increase much until these last two, and those are significantly more expensive than I intend on purchasing. I think we're good to probably just set out with what we've got. Let's turn off the lights. We'll visit Hunter's Keep, shall we? Visit Hunter's Keep and then trail off of there to Low Barnet. See if we can dump some Blemigans on both of them. Though Hunter's Keep, well, we know the ultimate fate of that. It's not great. It's not fantastic. Perhaps we should actually go to Low Barnet first. It's looking a little bit more southernly than Hunter's Keep here. Oh, the impolite investigator's question. The impolite investigator approaches you smiling. Now that we're safely submerged, I have a question. I've been watching closely and it's apparent you've consorted with a member of your crew. How and where did you engage? Did you enjoy it? Did they? I like this response even if we can't take it. I am hungrily. Isn't he just delicious? Let's simply smile at him, shall we? Let him draw his own conclusions. Or we could threaten to keel haul him. He's a little bit of a dick, but he's questionably a dick with a good heart. Let's just smile cryptically at him. Let him draw his own conclusions. Raising questions, the investigator's smile broadens. That tells me everything I need. I know where to make follow-up enquiries, but before I go, I'd like some specifics. I require details about the shape of their curves, and an idea of how warm they feel when you're needed elsewhere. You don't hear the end of his sentence. What a what a fellow that guy is. Well, we've made it to Low Barnet here. Location of many a story. And of course we will be able to deliver the wandering parson here. Low Barnet, a sunken church with docking ports. Sediment has built up against the lower walls, and long ago choked neglected crypts and crooked tombstones. The interior is sealed, yet the deep peals of the tower's bell can be felt even through the submarine hull. Let's deliver the wandering parson. He presses close to a porthole as you dock. Low Barnet, he murmurs. The gate to the deeps. Hold on a second here. Gate to the deeps? Okay, we know that there is, in every abyss, a cathedral. Oh, that's super interesting. I did not get this at all originally. In that last captain's campaign, I did not realize this. That unlocks so much more. Oh, man. Okay. Call to worship. You'll hear tales here from the distant trenches of the Unterzee, and some of them might even be true, but the strangest ones are jealously guarded. Light from the dock glints in his eye. Hidden mysteries and pliant listeners. He glances at you and gathers his luggage. Won't you join me below for a while? An explorer could learn much of value here. Perhaps I might. Let's go put a Blemigan ashore, might as well. Why wouldn't an underwater church want an unpredictable fungal carnivore among its congregation? A controlled environment. The purple mushroom descends from the zub. It shuffles into the nave? Never heard that word before. Shuffles into the nave, scratching at the dirt around the pews. It pauses near the pulpit, then, with a decisive wriggle, makes for a dark corner behind the altar. A trident whistles through the air and skewers its soft head. A verger strides over, retrieves her weapon, and hacks at the wounded Blemigan until pieces are mush. She gives you a baleful look before returning to her post. Wow! I did not expect that. I did not expect that from a church, basically. A church full of storytellers? What the heck was that? Okay, remind me not to piss off the congregation here. Good God. There goes a Blemigan. I guess we know we can't drop one off here. Let's go grab the port report, I suppose, first. Explore the church. What goes on here? What brings its congregation together? Submarine surfaces. Services. Give that a little harder on the consonants there. There's no pulpit. The organ has bent, broken pipes, but Low Barnet is still a house of worship of a sort. Groups of zailors gather in the aisles. The choir benches are clean and face a makeshift stage. Lantern-eyed fish pass behind colorful windows of stained glass. That does not seem watertight. All right. The door to the bell tower is guarded by two burly vergers. The tridents are a nice touch. Okay. Let's witness a contest of stories, shall we? The congregation is gathered before the altar as sermon, but there seem to be two preachers. A contest of stories. A competition is in progress. A voluble visitor tells of the Sideways Regiment, a plunderous legion of trained crabs. First, they present a mighty collective shell, then comes the onslaught of 1,000 nippers. Why, I only escaped thanks to a timely cloud of ink from my squid, which I befriended for precisely such an occasion. The unlikely story wins the acclaim of the congregation, whilst her rival slumps disappointed. The visitor waves her top hat and processes to the bell tower. Its doors close behind her. So what's with the competition, then? What kind of contest is won by nonsensical lies about crabs? A regular listener, you approach an apprehensive seaman who is staring into the distance, perhaps imagining marching ranks of crustaceans. You ask what happened here. The competition. Best story wins. Captain says it's all in the delivery, but you need a fine yarn to spin, too. When you inquire about the winner's reward, his gaze turns wistful. If they're lucky, they get taken up. Wish I had a story to tell. All right. Well, shall we follow her into the bell tower? I doubt we'll get in. What's in there? Wild riches or just a good buffet? Not on the list. Two surly vergers block your approach to the door. One points back at the congregation. Only winners allowed, he grunts. Next one soon. Well, I'll have to do that later. Go about your business. The congregation is breaking up for now. Our last option. That's all we have. Chimes. A few souls linger, gazing at the closed doors of the bell tower. You've just turned away when you hear the sonorous bong of the bell within. Its peals repeat every few seconds before becoming abruptly muffled, then finally silent. An excited murmur runs through the congregation. Although you keep an eye on the bell tower door, the winner does not emerge. What has become of them, perhaps? Well, I could trade stories with the congregation. Your appearance and bearing attract attention. They are eager for new tales. But I do believe, yes, that those are port reports, none of which I have even discovered yet. Barring, of course, the Undercrow here. Maybe a later time. That'll be that. If we had been a storyteller, we'd be able to trade it with the gentleman in the rear. I swear that there was a sort of tutorial fellow that explained it. Maybe that's when you get a little bit further in. But I think that's all we'll do in Low Barnet. We can use Tales of Terror or Memories of Distant Shores to buy fuel and supplies. Unfortunately, we are hoarding both of those for our ultimate goal, so not going to be what we were looking for. God, this is a weird submarine, since I've been so used to the more angular types of our other ships. We will go surface for the time being. See what we can do at Hunter's Keep. Perhaps the Blemigan will live here. Both the places that the Blemigan has departed. Well, I guess the Demew Island kind of just rejoined its company, but did not do so well in Low Barnet. Let's throw a Blemigan ashore, shall we? Fertile ground for little purple people. Into the hedgerows. A flash of deep violet and the Blemigan is gone. Perhaps the sisters of the keep will find the creature, or its spawn. Perhaps they'll keep it as a pet. Perhaps they'll make a pie. Well, we have propagated it to Hunter's Keep. And we'll go grab the port report here. Nothing changing so much. And we don't have something awaits us, so the sisters aren't here. But of course, we can tempt them out with news. Even when the sisters aren't feeling sociable, they can be tempted out of their lair by the smell of new stories. Not gonna wait, you ask the sulphur-eyed maid to carry a few hints of near news to the sisters. Oddly enough, she comes back with a message that their headaches are cured and you're invited to lunch. Who shall we talk to? We have lost Storm's attention. But I cannot for the life of me think of who Storm is. I think it's Cynthia? I always forget here. I think it's Cynthia. Let's talk to her. Cynthia is the eldest, melancholy, pensive, occasionally dramatic. I think that sounds like Storm, right? Salt, damn. Cynthia grasps your arm and whispers to you. Her eyes are wide and blue. Her hair is wild and tangled. Bats might nest in it. It seems to you that you are sitting on a hillside above a wide blue lake, listening to a story of a murder, an axe, a net, a blood. Oh, not a blood, just blood, on scented water. Another chop, Cynthia asks. You've barely touched your food. Here, I'll have the maid wrap up something for you. You can't be hungry. It's not safe to be hungry. Gained a tale of terror and a little bit of terror. Some supplies. Lost our current hunger and gained 2 iron for the trouble. Not too bad, along with Salt's attention, which I'm pretty sure we already had, but well. And that'll be our visit to Hunter's Keep. Successful deposit of a Blemigan at the very least. We'll go set off for Venderbite here. With a pirate pinnace circling to our east, I think we should be able to keep ahead of him. There we go. There's the very edge of Venderbite. And so we shall dock here, maybe release a Blemigan. Hopefully it doesn't get hunted down by the bandaged old folks that make up Venderbite's colony here. Put a Blemigan ashore, that'll liven things up. Yes, it livens things up. A shriek, your Blemigan has run up a colonist's leg. Inside their leg, by the sounds of it, some of them are hollow as drums. Well, no doubt they can both take care of themselves, tiptoe away. Well, that, it wasn't hunted down, but it may not live for long. Or, depending on how mobile the colonist is, it may live quite a long time. Let's gather our port report. And, shall we do anything else here? Think not. Not that we have much to do. Could visit the first curator. I doubt we have any colors. Yeah, didn't think so. And I think that will be what we do here. Could give away visions of the surface for some cash here. But I think we shall hold on to them. Set off north to Wither, shall we? We'll go take care of these bats as well on the way. There we go. Lots of food for the crew. Well, one more meal for the crew. Not a tasty one, mind, but it is food. Food is food. More lifebergs off in the distance. They are excellent sources of food and fuel. Unfortunately, they're a little much for me to take on at the moment. Hopefully I can outsail this fellow before he turns me into a fine paste. But I think we are good. We'll turn off our lights, both to save on fuel and to avoid that lifeberg's attentions. Yeah, and we are good. But here is Wither. Another lovely location on which to dock. Now we could regain Storm's attention if we had brought a cask of mushroom wine and a live specimen. Unfortunately, we brought neither. Not that we particularly need Storm's attention. We'll go grab a port report and drop off a Blemigan, shall we? What questions might a Blemigan ask? It is not enthusiastic. It doesn't say anything, of course, but its opinion is apparent. What the hell are you thinking, perhaps? Ice, salt, and dust are not to its taste. Oh, it doesn't even want to get off the ship. Well, you be picky then. All right, then. That'll be that part done. Let's head across to Codex and see if it fares any better there. Maybe it'll learn the Codexian sign language. Oh, and we probably should have gone somewhere in Wither with our Something Awaits Us. Maybe we can do the same in Codex. We will go swing the ship around. Whoops, not you. We'll go and... There we go, toss a Blemigan ashore here. How did the Blemigans deal with the cold? Probably not at all. Not well. It scurries desperately back up the gangplank, shrilling pathetically. Not a fan of ice, apparently. Wow. We give it a shot. And nothing to do with our Something Awaits Us here, either. Okay. Well, I guess grab the port report, I suppose. Yeah, nothing else to do here. Let's head south to Gidersmorn or up to the Undercrow. Undercrow's underwater. Let's head south to Gidersmorn. I just don't feel like unsurfacing and resurfacing here. Or rather to Frostbound first, actually. We're still over here. We need to go across a bit. Let's head to Frostbound first. Maybe the squatters there will enjoy it a little bit better, and we'll be able to gain some fuel and supplies for our trouble over there. I kind of doubt that the Blemigans will like it up there. It is identically cold and frosty, just as the ports of Codex and Wither. Who knows? Maybe they will like the Iremi and Withern folks that are docked up there. We will at least have a Something Awaits Us here to go and talk to the folks. Get our terror reduced. Get everything settled. Let's go. So, we can try to throw another Blemigan ashore. We'll grab the port report first. And try to put the Blemigan ashore. Snow, ice, and a few squatters. A harsh environment for vegetation, but Blemigans are adaptable. Not that adaptable, though. Its moist tendrils freeze, my goodness, to the icy ground as soon as it's off the gangplank. It squeals, speeding back into the ship to huddle in the engine room. It's made its opinions on Frostbound very clear. Well, it was worth a shot. And let's go take tea with the squatters at the dock, shall we? Some of them wear the robes of Iremi riddle fishers. Some look like Withern folk, but even more ragged. Or rather, but even more ragged than Withern folk. They do seem little more practical than either of those peoples. A surprisingly warm welcome. We're keeping the steps for the Game of Truths, the helpful riddle fisher explains as she fills your cup for a third time. Every year, the people of Irem and Wither meet here for, she pauses, contests, she finishes vaguely. The difference between a question and a riddle. One day, someone will prove themselves enough to enter the castle. You spend a pleasant few hours while the tea is supplemented with Iremi liqueurs, pale Withern beer, and something the riddle fisher describes blandly as snake cake. They offer you fuel and supplies before you leave. We keep enough to spare, the riddle fisher grins. From time to time, a captain gets lost and comes up here, and we always feel bad for them. Gain a little bit of supply and fuel. Lose 10 terror, which is great. And that will be our trip to Frostbound. Now down to Gidersmorn. We can go get ourselves scooched straight south, or just abouts. Use the comfort of the light, as well as some rocks here that we'll pass by. Save on fuel costs. And Gidersmorn should be... There it is, just here. But not very well explored. Gidersmorn, step carefully. Let's introduce Blemigans to the morn, shall we? So many nooks, so many crannies, so many villains. It seems only appropriate. A wild seed, off it goes into the teeming, stinking hollows of the stalagmite. Perhaps it'll end up in a pirate's pot. Probably. But we've got the propagation out. So that's good enough. We'll try to gather some intelligence. And succeed. In a steaming bathhouse on a spur of rock, water slops over the edge of tubs, out over the edge to join the Z far below. Scarred captains boast drunkenly of the prizes they've taken, the victims they have marked out. You listen from the shadows, and not lose a single crew member for the trouble. And we don't have anything awaits us, though, so we won't be able to spend an afternoon at the Errant Limpet, unfortunately. Could buy a few things here, none of which would be particularly good, though. So we shall not. Let's go and head over to, let's see, 13 fuel and 8 supply. We can head over to the Salt Lions, maybe take a further bit east, head south, and then back to Fallen London, shall we? I think we should have enough fuel to do that. Or so I hope. And we're being hunted. By whom? By what? Even the game isn't sure. Okay. Mildly unsettling, but acceptable. We'll keep traveling here, using our lights as sparingly as possible. Until we reach the lovely, lovely Salt Lions. With 11 fuel in tow. Not too shabby. We'll have to check our cargo space before we actually accept that Sphinx Stone. May need to come back here. Our hold does not have 20 slots to spare, unfortunately. Let's go toss a Blemigan ashore here. Blemigans have populated harsher environments. Scenting something familiar. The Blemigan scales in the face of the North Lion, squeezing fine tendrils into the narrowest of cracks, pressing on to the Unmaker's encampment. You leave it groping blindly at the laces of a tent, twittering softly. Okay. And we'll grab the port report. We will sail further east, see if we can get some Blemigans departed. Maybe just the fuel and supply used up. And see if there's anything out here before we circle back to the Salt Lions and try to pick up that Sphinx Stone bound to London. We will head through as many buoys as possible here. Head by land as much as we can as well. And let's start sending out bats again, shall we? Just in case they find something interesting. Something underwater, some distance to the south, you say? It should mark any ports, I do believe. Surely. Oh, yes, it did. Okay, so maybe if we submerge? Ah, okay, so we'll need to get out of range of whatever that is. There's apparently a lighthouse up here. Are we out of range? Seems not. Wow, how big is this place? I bet we're sailing to the opposite side of whatever this port is. There we go. We can go and submerge by the buoy. Ah, it's Nook. Okay, not too bad. Don't need that on. Sonar has picked up an underwater settlement some distance to the south. Oh, okay, so the sonar acts as a bat as well. That's neat. And is that rack right next to it? Wow, that's not half bad, honestly. Kind of clustered together, but still not too bad. Nook discovered. The edge of Nook. A gap in this colossal Z monster's throat has been forced open with thick heart metal beams. They strain under the pressure but hold. As you pass through, your submarine lights pass over a message carved in a floating piece of some unfortunate's hull. Beyond is Nook, beyond is freedom, beyond is... The rest is scratched out. Let's enter Nook, shall we? Water presses against the airlock door. The breathing and slithering of the beast gives it the rhythm of a drumbeat. Trespasser and freedom. You don your heavy diving suit and give the order to cycle the airlock. Water rushes in and you begin the slow swim down into the port. It soon becomes obvious that you were overdressed for the occasion. The people of Nook swim and breathe in the cloudy maw water with no apparent discomfort. Most are naked, with just a few clad in rotten rags that stream from their skin with no concern for modesty. None will communicate with you, even if they even can. There we go. Those who acknowledge your presence just laugh silently at your bulky suit and unnecessary air hose. You need a different approach. Let's descend naked into Nook, shall we? At least you're unlikely to run into anyone you know. You undress every button, every stitch. The door opens, ice-cold water rushes upwards. Instinct holds your mouth shut. 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Your lungs burn, holding in that last gulp of air. Your legs thrash. You can't hold it in. It escapes. You're choking on water. It forces its way into your lungs. The taste of burning salt suffocating every attempt to gasp, scream, or... Then, through the exhaustion and panic, you realize you're breathing. It's hard work. Your lungs fight against the weight. But it's enough. You can tolerate it, at least for now. We've got a little bit of tolerance here. We'll go compile a port report. No one here has anything to hide, and actually, no one here is hiding anything at all. A logistical issue. No pen, of course. You'll just have to record what you remember when you're back in the submarine. And let's go toss a Blemigan in here, shall we? Go, little mushroom, be free. A place to thrive. The Blemigan adapts to the water before it has even left the submarine's airlock. It bubbles contentedly and sinks deep down into the depths, where meat is fresher and light is low. Okay. Well, there he goes. What to do? How is our tolerance for Nook water? We've only got one. Let's just return to the submarine. Let's not tempt fate here too much. Better not leave the crew waiting too long. Return from Nook. You swim into the airlock and alert the crew. Air flows in. You retch the last of the Nook water from your lungs. Return to the crew. Air again. How refreshing. And we don't have a taste of freedom too high yet. The crew salutes as you pass. Good, all is well. Anything that happened in Nook shall remain Nook. But we now have access to Nook's shops, which are pretty decent out here. We're not super... Well, I guess we are pretty far out. We're pretty far east. It's kind of in the center of the map. So that's not a terrible spot to have these sorts of prices on everything. And Stygian Ivory is actually here. Not too bad. But we will go and leave Nook, I think. Let's go say hi to Rack, shall we? How's our terror? We're not at risk, are we? No, not at all. We will go dock at Rack. We will, of course, be helping Rack out as much as possible. A lovely, lovely location to improve and upgrade. Let's say hello to them, shall we? Oops, not like that, though. Rack, earn your entry. The wreckers surround your docked submarine. They greet you with crooked blades and rusted blunderbusses. Easy, trespasser. You want in? Prove you belong here. Could try to wrestle all of them. This could go badly. You know what? Screw it. We're going to wrestle all of them. That's right. All of them. 80% chance, but a success. You launch headlong into the crowd, taking Sinewy, Scavenger, and two of the fellows behind her down into the floor. You leap onto a cruel pack of poets who curse you in Greek, flip a miner who rushes at you with a hooked knife, headlock a zailor who screams an ancient Assyrian war cry. One catches you from behind in a hug. She laughs in your ear. The rest of the wreckers raise their weapons and cheer. Damn fine, trespasser. Welcome to Rack. That's right, we just wrestled all of them. And, what shall we do? We don't have Scintilic to get an audience with the Fair King here. And we need a better relationship to Rack to get this all going together. Let's grab the port report here. The Admiral would be very interested in the Wrecker's activities. And, Rack itself. Ships lured by false promises and lights litter the Z floor. Their broken hulls make a city for the Wreckers. The citizens are in constant motion, working to survive and appease the Fair King, who sits deep within the city on his wheeled throne. As for the port report, the Wreckers know their duties. Poets write enticing lies, talkers travel to other ports to spread them. Miners construct devices which will sink the lured ships, and salvagers strip them bare. The most celebrated of the Wreckers wear no special costume but are easily identified. They mumble poems in Arabic to themselves, they whistle lively tunes and use scales. They wear heavy gloves and carry silver clippers with which to cultivate tether. So we've got the port report there. Let's consider the state of the city. Wreckers look sallow. Stores are running low, there is enough food to subsist for a time, but the poets may soon be out of paper, and the miners won't be able to make their explosive if their powder isn't refreshed. But the Fair King ensures there is order. He goes without just as his subjects do. He sees that those who forsake their work for despair are flogged. We have access to the early shops here. Buy bales of parabol linens for torpedo components. Okay. Sacks of dark drop coffee beans for 3 supplies. Not a great trade. Not the worst for prisoners' honey, though. But fuel and supplies are both very expensive, which is not the case when we get to bring this place to its dazzling glory. Shall we throw a Blemigan here? Probably won't improve the situation of the city. What is Rack hanging on to right now? How close is it to collapse? 11. I think it could probably subsist with a Blemigan. Outside the wreck's botanical life seems to flourish. Certainly mycological life stands a chance inside. Inspiration. The Blemigan seems to totter down the hall. It pauses before a damp, stinking patch of sawdust to write a couplet in the detritus. Yes, it will certainly be at home here. Okay, not too bad. And let's go follow an echo through the halls. Many wreckers sing, but none quite like this. Careful, trespasser, a wrecker warns you as you approach. He escaped from Dahoot. Mind your manners or you might lose an ear. The escaped composer. He looks up from a water-warped pianoforte, adjusting his glasses. His hand is stained with ink. There is music written on the wallpaper behind him. But we have nothing to offer him quite yet. Apparently. Pretty sure meeting him the first time is supposed to get him something. But maybe we need something awaits us to talk to him properly. We'll need to bring Scintilic here. We know where to get it, actually, from the cavies. We'll need to do that later. That'll be Rack struggling. We at least know where it is. Yeah, that's right off the salt lines again. So let's head back up there, pick up some Sphinx Stone, and deliver that to Fallen London. And we'll travel underwater for a wee bit of the trip. To see if our sonar picks up anything. We did not. Picked up something, but I'm not sure as to the direction. And we are at the salt lines. Is it something hostile? Ooh, a massive ship. Wow, look at that thing. That is humongous. A wreck. The wreck waits below, a dark shape in dark water. What caused it to sink? Does anything salvageable remain? Let's retrieve supplies. The cargo hold is intact. Perishables will have spoiled, but preserved cargo supplies may endure. You don your diving suit. The hold is a wretched, half-collapsed thing. Shattered beams and floating debris. Your navigator helps you move a spar of fallen steel, uncovering sealed boxes. They contain heavily salted biscuits, hardtack, preservatives, and lard. Gains a bit of supply for our trouble, and we will go and resubmerge here. At the salt lines. So, we have Yes, we do. We have enough cargo spaces to go carry some more Sphinx Stone to London. We will spend the 200 Echo to go and do that. There you go. And we'll take aboard 20 Sphinx Stone for delivery. And I think we'll kind of head straight there, cut through this big area of undiscovered mapping, shall we? And we should get back with enough fuel. Not a ton, but enough. Shall we turn the lights off while we head through the buoy's ring of light? There's more of Guider's Mourn. It was not well explored before, but I guess we're kind of coming to that now. Ah, more stars changing. Pigs? Dang it, pigs. Unfortunate. Maybe we'll get something nice at some point. Perhaps we're just unlucky. Perhaps we were destined to be unlucky. Oh, and a pirate frigate. Oh, I think we should be able to slip by it. Assuming it holds its current heading and doesn't keep spinning. Uh-oh. It's decided that spinning is a neat trick. Nope, it spun the other direction. We're good. And we've discovered Massey's Shaft. No comment on that name. Nothing. Nothing at all. Okay, but we've actually mapped out a pretty big chunk of that formerly unknown area. Thornwell Croft. We could stop off at the Shepherd Isles. Nah, that's too far out of the way. We'd have to go all the way around the far east side of it, and that is just a long distance to travel for not much gain. Uh-oh. Gillifleur off to pursue us? Is he serious about the endeavor? Ah, we turned our lights off and he forgot about us. We're okay. Maybe. Oh, there he goes. He's turned around. Alrighty, but we've made it back to Fallen London. Or thereabouts. So we will dock up here. The revenue men intend to search our ship. We have nothing to hide. So, go. Rip through our ship. And, let's see. Let's see, where is that? In London. Who we have necessarily to recruit here? Only a Zailor? I think not. We will go and deliver some Sphinx Stone, though. Special constables, black uniforms, and distinctive caps with the badge of the Ministry of Public Decency wait with the cart. Sure, we will submit our Sphinx Stone for a fair profit. And we don't need that new recruit. We are already well above what we need to crew the ship. By 2 or 3. We really don't need to go and do that. We won't submit the Blemigans to the man that is basically a Blemigan, I do believe. Man in the overcoat, which is a Blemigan. Let's go and submit the few port reports that we picked up here and there. For a bit of fuel. Notes for Guider's Mourn. The sisters are doing well for now. Venderbite is Venderbite. Wither is a mystery. Frostfound is neat enough. And Codex is peculiar. Salt lines exist. And Nook. So you've been to the Great Maw, have you? No clothes at all. Wild orgies, fights to the death, and the altogether. The secretary glows crimson as he stares at your report. Tell me everything slowly. And Low Barnett. Ah, yes, the congregation that worships stories. What did they tell you? Not a whole lot. Rack, what can you tell us of those wretches? Well, I'm going to help them out, but you won't know that. Hopefully. Hopefully I didn't add that to my report. But... God, I can't believe I've still not found a single move in the Great Game. I've gotten very unlucky with the Humane Canal. Very unlucky indeed. Roser's Wharf is still doing Roser's Wharf things. I suppose I could cycle the day. Looking for outlandish artifacts? No, thank you. And you want to move in the Great Game? Well, let me tell you something. I want to move in the Great Game, too. So, good luck getting one. And I think that's all we have to do in London, isn't it? We don't have a whole lot. We're working on quite a few things, but they're all too distant for us to really accomplish. We haven't discovered a lot of it, fortunately. Fathom King's Hold we have yet to find. Antha we have yet to find. Lobarnet, we did cross that off the list. That part is at least complete. We found the Connate, sort of. I assume Khan's Shadow is still where it lies. Kind of southeastish. At least that was how it was related to our former Connate location. So I assume it's still down there. We can go and get our Longshanks gunner sent over there the next time we go to the Connate. And we will have to show up with a whole lot, unfortunately, of Dark Trop coffee beans, and it is going to be an expensive endeavor, too. But maybe we will make some profit off of it. Just perhaps. Still have to go to Scrimshander and Rosegate. Still have to grab mirror catch boxes and a clay man. And visit Hideaway for, I believe, not one, but two individuals. The Nearly Dead Man and the Impolite Investigators. Just use pearls. That's what I was considering, but we haven't found a Dahoot yet. Nor have we found Fathom King's Hold, so it's a bit rougher. I would very much like to use pearls. Pearls are much cheaper to get once we find Dahoot. But we may just hold off on getting access to the Nefrit Quarter at the Monkey Joint. Oh, the Empire of Hands. Yeah, we have yet to find that too. I assume that's all still off in the distance. So we'll have to go and do a little bit more exploring. We have about half the map explored, kind of patchworkedly. I think there are a lot of underwater locations. I swear our bats marked the ports when they found stuff underwater before, but maybe they're not doing that now. I'm not quite sure. We still have a further half of the map to explore and a whole lot of underwater locations to reach. I'm kind of sad that the Connate is no longer close to Irem. We had a pretty good trade triangle there if Dahoot is up here again. But no longer will that be the case. Nook is always west of Nuncio. So we've got to find that first. That'll... Oh, wait, no. We've already found Nook, therefore we know that Nuncio is hereabouts. Okay, not too bad. Nuncio is not a great port, but it is something that we can at least find. But we'll go adventure through the rest of the Sunless Sea when we come back next time, because it is just about time to end the stream. Got plenty done. We still have... We're about keeping even on Echo. We could upgrade to a trader's ship, but I don't know. I kind of like having a forward weapon slot, even if I don't have anything equipped in it. Maybe we could do that later, but I think hunting things at the moment would probably not be great. We could look at some of these other ships, though. God, that's expensive. I think that is more Echo than I have ever had with any of my captains at one time. But by golly, they have a lot of power. The first ships, I believe, to have all 6? I think it's 6 slots. Usually you have to choose between forward slots and aft slots. These two, the Miniad Frigate and the Catalog Dreadnought, have all 6. And boy, would that be nice to have. Even if they do have some drawbacks. I think I'd probably go for the Miniad just because it is estimatably reasonably priced. Hold capacity is upgraded. Not quite to the best that we've had. The Clattery Heart is definitely better. Check the Labyrinth of Tigers. Don't think they have anything. We could sell the Harlot Fry, but I don't want to do that yet. I'd rather save that for hunting trophies. But I think eventually we'll probably do the merchant cruiser first. We'll do a little bit of trading just to buff out our cash amounts. Might be a little bit boring, but maybe we will get some stuff here and there in the Sunless Sea, and then maybe go for the Maynard class frigates after that. I don't think we'll ever go for the Dreadnought. That just seems a little too pricey and too much of a detriment to Vales. No, but its hold capacity is actually not bad. Maybe there is reason to do that. Who knows? That'll all be for later, though. We will be coming back to Sunless Sea next Friday. That is when we will be back. That is when we will pursue all of these goals that we've been building up on our captain for places that we have not yet found. I'm sure they'll come in time. If you're not just interested in Sunless Sea content, I will be back Monday. We will be playing some more Subtech Ages. Still going through some magic components there, but I might start moving on to the technology, the space age technology that we have accessed and unlocked. Might start doing that Monday. Not quite sure. We may still just stick with the whole magic dimensional gate hopping sort of deal. If you're not interested in either of those two, there is also Prey. We're doing Prey on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Hopefully, we will actually get to do the Prey on this Tuesday's session at 3 PST. Going pretty well in there. We've just opened up the ship. We have gotten some intrigue there. Got past the hook, gone through a few sections of the ship, and we've gotten to some grayness in the story. So feel free to show up at any of those 3 times. I hope to see you at one of those times. If not, I hope that you guys also find numerous locations across your little world, and I hope they're all as new to you as this new map is to me. For the meanwhile, I'm going to call this a stream. Cheers, everybody.